They're two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. Joining me each and every single week is Sgt McClusky. What's going on, bro?
Got that little Superman curl going on.
Yeah, on the other side? Yeah, I see it. Yeah. I don't know if it's a Superman curl, but...
I meant to ask you, because since you flipped the cameras, right?
Yeah.
Is my shirt mirrored? Can they not read my shirt?
Yeah, they can. They can read your shirt.
You didn't mirror me, right?
I just shifted you over.
Yeah. You just shifted
me.
Yeah,
they can read your shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll stop wearing the word shirts. So it looks if
I usually just wear.
If you have to have a rear view mirror to read my shirts, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they have to watch like this.
They have to watch.
Yeah, they have to watch. Yeah.
Right. I saw a car where the thing was written on the hood, but it was written the right way. So when you looked at it through the mirror, I can't read it.
I said that was the CES thing I showed the other day with the car.
So I saw this today. Today when I was driving, somebody had the thing on the hood.
What was the hood?
And I'm looking, call us for all your bug problems. It was like an extermination company, right?
Yeah, but you're just staring at it as you walk by. You see it, and you don't want to read it while you're in the car backwards.
That's how you're supposed to read it.
No.
An advertisement on the hood is not meant for you parked backwards illegally and people pass the car read it. It's meant for me. I look at you when you're stopped behind me. I read the hood.
I'm. You're more likely to have people park in a parking lot, and people walk by and look at it than one car in front of you is looking through the rear view, going, "Oh, I need a bug guy."
Back parking is not legal down here.
People do it all the time.
Yeah, but that's not the reason. I agree to disagree on this one.
How you doing, chat? How you doing, chat?
Go ahead with the intro.
GXG is the weekly podcast. Goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. We're here live Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Eastern. You can watch us, listen to us, or I think that's it. You can watch us and listen to us. There's nothing else. And you can watch us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Anchor.fm, anywhere else a podcast is. And one day this week, I'll update it on the podcast audio formats. They're not, so you got to come here live. That's what it is. On today's show, Sarge, we're going to be talking about Ubisoft Plus wants you to be comfortable not owning your games. Okay?
Yeah, they could eat a dick.
We're gonna talk about Baldur's Gate 3. The owner talks about how he's never coming to a streaming service, like a subscription service.
Well, that's not saying never. Depends how many Benjamins comes his way. Understandable. I understand his stance.
We're gonna talk about the CEO Nadal from Microsoft saying that games are going to be coming to all consoles, but I think it was taken out of context, so we'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about Microsoft's plans to publish more games on Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. Okay, we're going to talk about Starfield. Had more hardcore modes in it. It was data mined within the files. We're going to talk about Suicide Squad. They have a thing coming out next. Well, actually, I think it's coming out tomorrow. Shroud, Dr. Lupo, and I forget the third person. They're playing the game tomorrow to show more of the game. Okay. Then there's another event on Monday to show the end game content and stuff like that. And we're gonna go over all the different perks and stuff that are coming to the game day one. Unlike other looter shooters out there, we're gonna talk about the Xbox Direct that happened earlier this evening. We're gonna talk about Avowed. Indiana Jones, Hellblade 2, and two other. I forget what the games are. One's a strategy game. Aria, I think it's called Aura, right? Is that what it was called?
It's basically
Civs.
the game it's supposed to compete against Civ.
Yeah. Well, they made Civ, right? They made.
Well, they're just trying to trump it. They're trying to do better than that Civ.
So we'll talk about that, and then we're going to talk a little bit about at CES there was a monitor that is built to help people cheat. And we'll talk about all that on today's show. So if you like what we do here, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you like to go above and beyond that, you can hit the membership button as little as $5. Let me see what.
You need to move that cheating monitor thing up in the lineup. I don't want that to fall off in the back end. That needs to be talked about early.
Okay, you want to talk about it first? We can talk about it first.
I mean, let's talk about the shitty update for Division 2, and then we can talk about.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about games we've been playing. So let's what we've been playing. I like that music that we have there. Dolphin says, Mike, you were right about Indiana Jones to the T. It wasn't to the T. To the T. I said that Harrison Ford might, do. I knew his face was going to be there because Lucasfilms owned his face.
Not to the T, but to the S.
Yeah.
All the way almost to the T.
And I said that where the game should be scheduled, like as far as like between what movies, and I was right about 2 movies. I said do the earlier.
And the difference between S and T, like S is shit, and then T is like told you.
You're right. So we'll talk about that when we get there. All right. So another week. What you been playing, Sarge?
So I might have this information a little. I might not be 100% correct on this information. I've been screwed around with today by.
That's all right. We're on the internet, and the internet doesn't ever tell the truth, so it's okay.
No. But I want to make sure that someone can fact check me on this one and follow me behind. I just want to make sure I get it correct. So there's a patch coming up. This is for Division 2. There's a patch coming up, and I know most of us don't give a shit, including myself. But when I find myself when I'm bored running around DC just shooting people in the face, it makes me feel better, right? Because I give everybody nicknames. Anyway, besides that, so the patch is coming out, and it starts, I think, the first week or second week of February, and it's a little strange because what it's going to do is it's going to combine the Reclamation Library with I think it's either the optimization tab or the expertise tab. They're going to merge into one. It's going to be called tinkering, right?
Okay.
And so the issue with this, and I tried to read through it slowly, and I'm hoping somebody else looked over the notes. What they're doing is they're combining both of those modification tabs into one tab, but because they are, it's creating a inconvenience to those players who have not maxed out their libraries. So for an example,
I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, so let's say auto rifles. I'm a big auto rifle guy, right?
Okay,
So
I got the info here at Tinker Station.
So
go ahead.
inside the rifle, the auto rifle, the library is like, let's say, reload speed and damage to armor and critical hit damage, critical hit chance. Like, there's all these things you can put on the assault rifle. Well, when you turn in guns in the before this patch, now current day and before, you turned in weapons, you broke them down, and whatever the bonus was for that category, you can then put it into that library. So basically, as you were playing the game, you were raising the possibility of the percentages that you could later on put on the gun yourself. So like if I wanted an assault rifle that had all crit damage, right? So that I'd be looking for guns that had max crit damage, so then I could burn that gun and put crit damage in the library. And so now crit damage is maxed out at like 15%. Right?
Okay.
It's like a 15, right?
Yep.
So now anytime I want an assault rifle with crit damage, if I optimize it, it'll always be 15.
Right. It'll always be maxed. Right.
Because I found it.
You made a god roll.
I put it in the library.
Yes.
Right. So now under these new guidelines, if you don't have your library full, you will no longer be able to break down a gun and max out that gun under the new patch.
So if it was stuck at 10%, it could go up to 15. It's always going to be stuck at 10?
Yeah, it's mixing optimization and the library together. It's strange. And then I started thinking about it. It took me about an hour. I'm like, why would they do that? Right? And I'm looking at my library. My library is not too bad. If I was going to start grinding, it wouldn't be bad. Then it hit me. And then you said something just a little while ago when I mentioned it to you, and then it really hit me. It's basically a way to get everyone who's behind to start jumping in the game and start grinding for FOMO. Because if you don't have max library now, people are freaking out and are now going to try to go for max library because they only have 3 weeks left.
Right.
Right. And then I thought to myself, who else did that? Starts with a B, ends with an E, a lot of shit in the middle. Right. So
that's Bungie, not Destiny.
I don't know whether or not it affected me right away. I was like, do I really want to grind now? Do I really want to play this game anymore? Or did this announcement just make me turn off completely on this game?
Well,
because now I don't care.
Yeah, let me read it here. So it says, note, the recalibration station has been reworked, receiving a streamlined flow, UI changes, and a new name, Tinker Station. Mobile tinkering. The functionality of the Tinker Station can also be accessed on the go from inventory in 2 ways. By pressing the M while nothing is highlighted, the player will enter a general Tinker menu. From pressing the specific, okay, expertise. No changes made to the following. It can be executed at the mobile tinkering menu. Recalibration optimization. Merged both functions into one tab. Optimization can no longer be done up to the value higher than the value stored in the player's recalibration library. Optimization upgrade steps change, and the player will no longer pay the full price for incomplete optimization step. Example, the user has a plus 10 SMG damage in the library and trying to optimize the SMG to currently has 9.7%. Since the highest value of the player's library is plus 10, they will only be able to upgrade to 0.03 and will only pay the material price for 0.3 portion instead of paying the full price of an upgrade step. Recalibration library, no changes made, and then also receive a UI improvement. Combar, gear lock, sent, project. Yeah, so I gotta read that again. Example, the user plus 10 SMG damage in the library and is trying to optimize an SMG currently has a plus 9.7. So that's where it's going to be stuck at, right? And then since the highest value in the player's library is plus 10, you'll only have to be able to upgrade to by plus 0.3% and will only pay for the material price for 0.3% portion instead of paying the full price of an upgraded step.
But that example sounds correct as like what it does now.
Yeah,
because that's what min-maxing is in Division.
Will no longer pay the full price of the incomplete optimization step.
This is why I don't care as much, but I'm curious to know if it's just benefiting or if it's causing people to freak out. Now maybe the other people were maybe they had a wrong take on it. It sounds like it's a positive change. But the way that they're describing it, that's what it is right now. Like that's what happens now.
It sounds like they lowered it. They're making it cheaper, and yeah, Paul's saying the same thing. It sounds like they're making it cheaper.
Right. It sounds that way. I'm hoping that's what it is.
Yeah, because the way you described it, I don't want to play the game anymore. Right? Just straight up. If they're locking it where I can't upgrade my game anymore, my guns anymore, that's ridiculous, and I don't want to play my game. I don't want to play the game anymore. But, if they're making it cheaper, if they're in this example, they're making it cheaper for me to upgrade it.
Yes, but the part this is the problem. The part that they're leaving out is the fact that if I don't have a maxed out SMG roll at 10%, let's say the maxed out roll I have is 9.5, right? When the patch goes through, I will no longer be able to put in a 10 to make it a 10 from that point on and then be able to put that 10 in where I want.
From what they're saying here is you will be able to get the 10. It just won't cost the full amount anymore. It costs only from the 0.3 to the up to the 10 or 0.5 to the 10.
You're mixing up two different things. I understand what you're saying, but the part that they're leaving out there is the fact that they're telling you the example as if you had the max. What I'm telling you is if you don't have the max,
right,
after the patch comes out, you will no longer be able to put in guns to get past the 9.5 at that point. You won't be able to go to 10. That's the part that they're missing out of that. They're describing to you the way it actually works under normal conditions. That's how it works.
Right. Normal conditions, but it's just cheaper.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's what the example's giving.
That's fine, but that's not giving you the entire story. They're not going back and saying that I can't go and then put in the library above where it is. That's why I have to wait. I have to wait until I see it. This is why I don't know if I should care.
Yeah, I'll be
I
honest.
don't know if I should care.
I play the game right now where you ask me every time we play, like, what are you going for? I'm like, nothing. I'm going for nothing. And here's my stance. I like playing the game.
I'm just throwing it out there because I know people like the game, and when
No,
a
I get
patch
it.
comes out, some people wait too long, and if you have to grind, and if you're the min-max kind of guy, and you don't start grinding, or if you don't finish up the library, you will no longer be able to min-max those roles in
Right.
those specific categories.
I
That's all
think
I'm trying to say.
I think what they're trying to do is get more people to come in and play, and I think that's why they're
That's what I-
lowering the cost, and they're also trying to get
Yeah.
people to go, oh, okay, it's cheaper now, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to do, but I don't want to jump back in. Like, it's been out for 5 years, right? This is like old news.
Yeah, this is an old '80s movie that you see when it's on
The
TV
new
once
kid
in
on
a
the
while.
block's coming in just like 10 days for me.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Right? So Suicide Squad is going to be the one that I'm mid-maxing and trying to go up at levels and grinding for now. And Division goes, bye-bye.
We can't have everybody wait around. We got to make sure we got to make sure that somebody's grinding our game for some reason.
Well, I would think one of the reasons they're also doing this is because Suicide Squad is coming out.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, we're doing these changes. Come on back. We want you to play this game over here. We don't want you to go over there. Stay in our playground.
Like most people are going to pick the 5-year-old game as opposed to the new game. Come on, man. Come on.
So, what other games?
Not true, Salty. The next one's coming out is Heartland, and the other one before we even see 3.
Wild,
so worry about 3.
Heartland and Resurgence. So, what other games did you play this past week? Anything?
I mean, we talked about it earlier today. I got that North and South game for $5.
We watched it this morning on the stream, and I have to say the graphics and stuff for the update, I'm pretty impressed with it. I might pick it up.
First of all, it's fun, and the CPU is no joke, and so it's a little hard. I haven't won yet.
For those of you, he's talking about the NPCs.
I haven't won yet. The computer. I'll say this: maybe it's the power of the Xbox Series X, bro. But the way that the CPU moves all 3 of the guys, as opposed to you only being able to move like one, you have to be pretty quick and figure out where you put those soldiers at, like lickety split, because otherwise you're done. Yeah. I'll give you a good example.
Here, for people that don't know what we're talking about, let me bring this up for people that they want to know what this game is.
Remember when the computer used to attack your fort, right? And if you defended properly, when it went back to the main screen, his army would die because he lost the battle, right? Because you defended. In this game, when you win, he doesn't lose the army. It just retreats back where it goes. So it got to the point where he keeps getting the reinforcements from North Carolina, and he's got a longer train than me, and he keeps blocking me and robbing my train, and I can't do anything. And I'm like, because every time I try to fight a battle, he's moving all 3 pieces, and I can only move one at a time. I'm like, this is all right. We're gonna do a little challenge now. Okay, it's gonna be old. We're doing old school, right? I'm like, okay, we have to try to beat the CPU. I'm like, okay, give me a couple days. I'll figure it out.
This update came out like three years ago, I think, something like that.
Shit's older than dirt, bro.
No,
I'm
on
just saying,
Xbox,
$5, it's fun.
Yeah, it's $5. Yeah,
$5 is fun.
He's attacking a fort. Yeah, we played this game, chat. We played this game. I talked about it earlier on stream. I rented this game and Sarge rented this game multiple times from Blockbuster. We should have just bought it, right? We should have just bought it, but we kept renting it.
But we had trouble buying 8-bit games because we knew how crappy they actually were, even though they were fun.
Xenophobe was another one I used to rent a lot.
Xenophobe was a good game, though. Xenophobe was best on the Lynx, the Atari Lynx, the handheld Atari game. Rampage and Xenophobe were like the best games on that system. Yeah, so this game, nothing big. Vampire Survivors opened up a couple more levels. I'm trying to get the achievements unlocked because it's such a good 30 minutes. Like every time you play the game, it's 30 minutes. I know exactly what's going on. Like, do I have 30 minutes? Oh, I got time for Vampire Survivor.
Yeah. You just gotta outlast them. That's it. Once you get to a certain point, you can just put it down. Things just killing everything. You just stand in one spot and just
I figured out the trick. What you have to do on most characters, not all of them, but most characters, is you only get one primary weapon. Just one. You have to pick the primary that you like, but only one. And then the rest have to be the AoEs.
Yeah.
Right? If you try to go
If it's
for more than
lightning or
one,
potion or the blast or the
because you have
garlic.
and I'll be honest with you, I think the garlic and the Bibles are like you have to have them.
Oh yeah, you can make them faster and
Have
there's more. And
have
yeah.
Because when you turn up the difficulty levels, when you make the enemies faster, when you do the cursed skull item to increase the difficulty, that if you don't have those items, then they get through the shield enough to where over time they just wear you out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. My son still plays every once in a while. We're in the car and I hear him playing it. I'm like, "Are you playing Vampire Survivor?" He's like, "Uh-huh."
I put in Starfield, I played 2 more missions to get 2 more powers, and then I just lost the will to play, and I'm like, "I'll see you later."
But
And you told me you finished it. Like, you went to do Game Plus.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
"My God, my brother finally went to do Game Plus, and I still haven't?" I'm like, "Do I really care?"
Do it.
I'm like,
Just get it done. But are you done with the main story, or how many more missions do you have in the main story?
I don't think I have anything else in the main story.
So
Like, it's just go find the powers and do the last battle.
So you can go to Unity then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then you just get your powers.
Yeah.
Dude, I popped out the powers in like an hour. I just went around. You go fast travel,
just
fast
fast
travel,
travel.
fast travel, fast travel.
Fast
Yeah,
travel.
that's it. That's all you
Why
got to
look at the
do.
universe? Just fucking fast travel that shit.
Yeah, just fast travel back and forth a couple times. How many powers are you missing?
4.
I'm missing 1. So now in one of the other playthroughs, I have to play one more playthrough.
Well, the universes are unlimited, bro. So one power will always be one behind, regardless of how many times you do it.
Yeah, but it's random. You don't know what power you're getting. So that means I have to go until I find that power.
Yeah, what I'm telling you is if you get all the powers in the second universe, your power in that world, and that power for that, it will always be one behind.
Correct.
You missed
Meaning I have to go to the 11th. I have to go to the 11th playthrough just to find the one power to make it even with the rest of them, and it's random where they are.
I mean, I guess
it is.
Look, I'll tell you what. I'll stop talking shit about games if you come out with a Star Wars game that's like Mass Effect, and I'll leave everybody alone.
I think Star Wars Outlaws might be that.
Then I'll leave everybody alone.
I think Star Wars Outlaws might be like that. I don't know. I played. What did I play this week? Oh, I've been playing DC Universe Online.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, and I like it.
DC Universe Online.
Yeah,
still on.
Yeah, it's still going. Yep,
it's still going.
Yeah, it's still plenty of people inside the servers.
How are people bitching about games that are current, but meanwhile nobody cares about DC Online and it's thriving?
This is. I don't know if it's thriving, but it's. I mean, it's. People.
Thriving means it's not on life support.
I don't know if it's got a growing population, but it's
Let's
there.
Not get carried away.
Yeah.
Don't put words in my mouth. It's surviving.
No, it's. I've been playing it. I got to level 30, so now I finally got to the next level. Last time I played it was last year, January 24th. I didn't play it almost in complete entire year.
January 24th of last year.
Last year was the last time I played it. Yeah.
Well, it's like your New Year's resolution is to play.
Yeah,
DC
January I played DC Universe Online. So I started playing it. I was level 22 when I started, and now I got to level 30. I like it, man. It's fun. And what I find funny is people give shit to like Suicide Squad. We'll talk about Suicide Squad a little bit later. They're like, the city looks bare, right? The city there's not enough enemies or there's not NPCs walking around. I'm like, how many? In what city do you know that if you're being invaded by somebody, or are people just walking around grocery shopping and stuff, right? So I'm playing DC Universe Online. I'm flying above the city, and I'm like, man, the city looks pretty bare, right? But no one's complaining about that. And I guess the counter argument is, well, it's 12 years old, 30, so no one's giving it that much shit. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't matter. Like, Destiny has no NPCs walking around. Division has no NPCs walking around except your little group that you see every once in a while, right? It's not like there's just random NPCs just having a beer on the side of the road. They're only at the hubs, right? They're only at the hubs where people are. Well, that's how it is in Suicide Squad. That's how it is in DC Universe Online. That's how it is in Destiny. It's the same shit. I don't understand people are complaining, but I like it, man. You have your character. I just got my cool outfit. Chad hasn't even seen it yet. Okay, I finished and shut off the stream, and then I realized I got a bunch of stuff and I can customize them. So now I look like a futuristic.
your own hero though.
Yeah,
right?
I look like a futuristic Batman now. Right, I got this Batman cowl thing going on because he's my mentor in the game. And then,
but you're discount Batman.
Yeah, I'm discount Batman. Yeah,
like you don't have Batman's money.
I used guns when I first started, right? Which is everything Batman's not, right?
It's not. Yeah, right.
Right.
So discount Batman.
Yeah, I'm discount Batman, and then I went from dueling pistols to now I have like these gauntlets that I shoot like energy out of it, right? And I love it, man. It's actually pretty fun. I actually want to go play some more.
How many powers you're allowed to pick in that game?
There's a shit ton. Now let me be clear.
No, I'm like for like one character, like how many powers you're allowed to pick? You can't pick everything, right?
You can have.
Like you can't be like the flyer and super fast and like you can't do everything.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can pick.
You can be Jesus.
You can mix and match what you want. Like I have like the Superman power of where I'm spinning like whirlwind. Then I have like laser beam. Then I have like other. I could be like Batman with Wonder Woman with Flash powers with right. Like you can mix and match. There's 3 loadouts that you can have, and you can just swap them out. So you can have. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like 8 buttons. And you can swap that.
So you can make Jesus.
Yeah, you can make Jesus. Right, and it's that old-fashioned MMO too. Like when you go into like a hub, like the Justice League. Like this giant ceilings, like the ceilings are like football field high.
Giant, temple.
It's a temple. Yeah, they're all like temples.
A temple and everybody's hanging out because you need room inside the building for people to fly around, make them look cool, right?
I found the watchtower now, and what I really like about this, right? And I think they nail it. And I'm waiting for the update because there's an update coming out for the.
I'm sorry.
Graphic update. Yeah, there's a graphic update. Oh, there's always a
graphic update.
Yeah, they're updating it for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X.
Get the fuck.
Okay, they're graphically going to be changing it this first quarter sometime. Okay.
So wait, I could play DC online on my Xbox?
That's what I'm doing right now. Yeah, that's what I'm playing.
Get the hell out of here.
It's
on Game Pass?
It's been there for like 10 years. No, it's just free. Yeah. You don't have to have Game Pass. It's just free.
It's not even on Game. It's just free.
It's just free. Yeah, it's a free to play game. Lots of microtransactions in there and stuff that they want you to purchase.
Of course.
You run out of inventory spaces pretty fast. But I don't care. I don't give a shit about any of that, right? I'm just leveling up my character and going around, right? So you can where the hell was I going with this now? Oh, the updates for what they're doing in the game. So every season they have a new chapter, like a story that's going on. Okay.
Say it isn't so.
Yeah, and it's great. Like
meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Right now, it's like a curse thing with Wonder Woman. I'm not doing it myself because I haven't got to that level yet. Now I just got to level 30, so now I can start leveling up higher. Get my I think it's champion points. I think if correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if DJ's here. DJ was helping me out. Then they're doing it right, man. Like every season, they have a new comic book, right? That comes in, and you have a story that you go through, and then you move on and stop playing and wait for the next one to come in.
So give me the number. What's the number of people playing DC Online?
Oh, I don't know.
Like on PC. I'm not worried about the Xbox.
Yeah, I'll look it up. I don't know.
20 grand, 30 grand.
DC Universe Online.
Like what's the game living on? I'm curious.
Let's see, player count. Player count for the MMO right now. It's ranked 73rd overall in MMOs out of 140. Total players is 384,000.
That's a lot, dude.
384,000. That's subscribers, though. I don't know. And I don't know if that counts I don't know if that counts as... I don't know if these accurate numbers, right? Steam charts right now, 662. Steam, 662. I'm not playing it on Steam. I'm playing on Xbox.
No, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just saying that even though people don't give a shit about this game, 300K is a lot of people playing DC Online. That's all I'm saying.
Even 662, the game is what, 12 years old? Right? It came out like the 10 years old, 10, 11 years old? Came out in 2014, 2013. Anyway, they're constantly doing updates in this, okay? And I wonder how they can do it. Obviously, microtransactions and stuff, and how other live services can't do this, right? There's no subscription model. I don't have to pay a subscription. Now there are subscriptions like ESO. You want more storage. You want more things.
There's a storage problem.
Yeah,
I see
like
that.
that type of stuff. People,
but they're blatant about it. They're like, you can't hold shit.
Right.
I want $10. Okay.
The best live service games are the ones that survey with smaller player counts. Yeah, I mean, or survive with smaller player counts. So I'm really impressed by the game though. Like it's just fun going around. The dialogue, there's always these dialogue happening with all the characters. They're all voiced. Okay. And when you do a story mission, like these little story missions that you do, at the end there's like a little comic book cutscene, right?
What a surprise!
Not a cinematic one. It's like comic book kind of movement. Like the
yeah, like a comic book,
book, right? And it's perfect. And I'm like, this is all I need, right? These little bits of story. So basically, the loop of DC Universe Online is that you are, go on a small little thing, kill this many guys, collect this many things, kill this many guys, go inside to the dungeon,
fight the bad guy,
and then go through the dungeon and then fight the bad guy. That's it, right? So here, I'll bring up some footage of me playing real fast so you can see. Yeah, it's so simplistic, and you know what? I'll tell you what. The graphics, pretty good for what it is. And I'm excited though to see what happens when they upgrade the graphics. Like that's what I want to see, right? Let me see.
What scares me more is that you said it's 74 at 150 MMOs. There's that many MMOs?
140? Yeah, that's what it said on the site. Yeah,
that's a lot, bro. That's a lot. Like chat doesn't even give a shit about 7 of them. There's 140.
Yeah. So here's the graphics, right? It's not the best. Okay. I'm doing little spin moves and whatnot, the little whirlwinds. You're fighting people. It's the MMO. It's like back in the day, like when you're playing like Star Wars Galaxies or anything like that, right? My guy,
sure.
Right? Got my little wings going on here.
You look like the Wasp, is what you look like.
Yeah. Well, see, this is what my guy looks like now. This is what he looks like now. He looks.
That's a good crotch shot with the laser up his ass. That was cool.
Here, you'll see as soon as I'm looking at. So I'm trying to change. That's not what my guy looks like right now because I changed it even more. But he looks like Batman now. He looks like
you look like a bad guy. Can you be a bad guy?
You can be a bad guy. Like lean more towards whatever.
Okay, wait. What I'm saying is, can you be a bad guy? Like, is the story you're a good guy? You can
look
like a bad guy.
You're a hero and part of the Justice League. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Eclipse says I've made the Red Lantern guy. And then you can actually be the actual characters if you want, right? It's cosmetics you buy. You can literally be Batman or Green Lantern.
Well, that's why the game has survived this long. Because anybody who loves heroes, if you give me the ability to actually be the hero I want to be and it costs a little bit of money, I can see why they've survived this long. That makes sense.
Yeah, but look, I mean, the gameplay is fun, right? You go around and it's a little fun thing, and there's so much stuff to do. I mean, so much stuff. I'm level 30 and now I'm doing the story missions, right? There's so many missions that you can do and story beats and everything. I think they're at episode 46 or 47 now, right? So it's good stuff, right? It's a fun little game, and if anyone's interested, it's free. You can. And what I didn't like, I kind of wanted to play on PC, but if I play on PC, I got to start all over again because it's not linked. There's no cross play or cross progression. So I was a little upset about that, but no big deal. Let me see if I have. Let me show you what some of the cutscenes look like.
I forgot about that. That was an actual game, right, Water? No one liked it because they were bad guys. No one likes bad guys, right? That was the whole point.
I want to show you what one of the cutscenes looks like if I could find it. Oh, that's Dr. Fate. So he just. If I flew back there, so gotta be close. Oh, here it is. Like me and Green Lantern were fighting. I was fighting with Green Lantern and Green Arrow. All right. So this is a boss fight.
Is it a Doublemint ad?
Yeah. Right. So we're Green Arrow's possessed right now, and then me and Green Lantern are kicking his ass. Green Lantern's an NPC, by the way. Right now, Green Arrow's not possessed, and now Green Lantern gets possessed, and now me and Green Arrow are kicking Green Lantern's ass. Okay.
Oh, but it actually looks like Green Lantern. That's Hal Jordan.
Yeah. So there's Eclipso, and then at the end you get a little cutscene like this. Here, let me just fast forward a little bit. Right,
Can you pick up cars and throw them at people?
You can pick up objects and throw them at people. Yeah. So this is the cutscene, right? Right. So it's cool. I think it's
Listen, if that's the only hero game we have where I can make any hero I want, and that's the only one they have currently, that's also why this game's still surviving.
Sure.
You know?
And I think a lot of people, or at least myself, I would like to see what Suicide Squad's got to bring in the future to keep like another DC. But this cutscene stuff is good. I'm okay with these little story beats, and like,
Sure.
I mean, it's a comic book game. Comic book game. Your roots are comic books. Like, just keep it in the comic book form, right?
I'll age somebody out. We're gonna move on, but I'm gonna age somebody out. If anyone remembers this game, does anyone remember playing? I know you think I'm gonna get the words mixed up, but I'm not gonna get the words mixed up. This is the correct name. The name of the game is on the IBM and sometimes the Macintosh and the Commodore 64. Impossible Mission. Does anyone remember the game Impossible Mission? And if you do, I know you have PTSD. Anybody who ever played Impossible Mission, I can't help you out there at one mash. If anyone's played Impossible Mission, then you guys definitely have survived PTSD. I know that for a fact.
Hold on. Impossible Mission is this is what you're talking about, Sarge, right here? This is for the Commodore 64.
I mean, it was for a bunch of computers.
Yeah, I know, but I got this. This is what Sarge is talking about.
Yeah.
This is the they also had another game like this. Is like the elevator game, wasn't it? Like the
it's not elevator action. It's not even close.
I know, but
right?
I'm saying it.
This game, you have. I'm pretty sure it's an hour or 45 minutes. I can't remember what it is, but there's a clock in the game, and you have until the clock runs out. If you don't finish the game before the clock runs out, you have to start over from the very beginning. So the whole thing is you trying to figure out the puzzles,
basically.
But it only had like 3 or 4 main sound effects, and they drove you absolutely bananas.
Here, you want me to turn on the sound?
No, I do not, because I don't want to punch my own monitor.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I won't put the sound on.
No.
Sure? Chad, you want to hear the sound?
Yes.
Chad, you want to hear the sound?
No, I do not want to hear the sound.
We won't put that on for Sarge. Early in the show, we don't want to get Sarge upset.
No.
No.
Seriously.
We're not doing it. So
I only finished that game one time, and I never played it again.
One of the other games I played, I went back to. I played a little bit of Disney's Speedstorm, which is that kart racing game. They just did an update like 8 weeks ago, and I just started playing it now. So I have a lot of races to catch up on to unlock a bunch of characters. So I played that a little bit. And there's one other game I played, and I can't remember now. It doesn't really matter. So that's it. That's all the games that we've been playing this past week. Now, this upcoming week, we got Suicide Squad coming out next week. We're gonna play Pal World as well tomorrow night. So check that out. Friday night we're gonna do a late night stream. I'll play a little bit of Pal World. That's that Pokemon game with with guns. It's like an orc survival Pokemon mixed with weapons. So,
I mean, it's a Pokemon game, right?
It's not Pokemon. It's an off branch of Pokemon. It's an early access. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, the Pale World, the human traffic simulator. That's correct.
I'm sorry, human trafficking simulator.
Yeah, you can sell humans.
I thought you guys were joking about that this morning.
No. Yeah, you can actually sell humans in the game.
But they're little creatures, right?
No,
humans.
Humans. No.
So you guys are being serious then?
Yeah, I'm being dead serious. Yeah,
okay.
There's creatures that you can take from their parents and then take them and then you make them grow up and work your farms for you. Okay, and then there's.
Serious?
I'm being dead serious. Yes, I'm being dead serious. Yes, I'm being serious as hell. Okay.
No wonder everyone's screaming about this game.
And then people, you can get people, and then you can go to a vendor and sell the person. The actual people are selling for 5 times more money than the actual animals. Okay. Yeah. It's Pokemon for adults. So there you go. Yeah. Dead serious. Right.
Okay.
So that's what we've been playing, and let's move on to top stories. All right, Sarge. You want to start with the monitor?
I mean,
or do you want to start with Ubisoft?
No, I'm not giving Ubisoft that kind of sunlight. You start with the monitor first. Let's do the monitor
All right,
first.
we'll start with the monitor first. I'll bring up the monitor. All right. So the first story is the MSI AI-powered gaming monitor helps you cheat at League of Legends and looks great doing it. Okay. So what this monitor does, okay, at CES 2024, the AI everywhere, including inside monitors, and the demo suite at MSI showed off the upcoming MEG 321 URX QD OLED display. That's a hell of a name. Okay. It says, according to MSI's Sky site, works by analyzing the on-screen minimap to see where enemies are coming from, which is something you can do with your own eyes. But by having the AI assist you, it watches the map for you and then puts the icons on the screen to show where the threats are coming from, right? So it says, hold on, the AI tracks your health status and League of Legends lighting up an RGB LED light bar called the Spectrum bar at the bottom of the bezel, okay, to match your in-game health bar. So in the demo, we saw that the bar was part green and part yellow, which looks exactly like the graphical line on the screen. Okay, so you can really just focus dead on the screen. You don't have to worry about it. You'll see in the peripheral vision of the lights turning, right? It says if you don't happen to play League of Legends, you can still take advantage of this system. The AI processing MSI says that when the monitor comes out later this spring, it will be releasing a PC application that allows you to train it to recognize the health bar, enemies, and other on-screen features in-game you want. You'll need the computer's processing power for initial training, but according to the MSI, the monitor itself will do all the processing thereafter. Possibilities seem endless. Now, the reps did say not to disclose details about what kind of AI processor they're using, okay? It says even if you've never used its AI features, you'll find a lot of it about a non-curved 32-inch 4K screen. So it's a nice screen, but it also has these like features. On top of that, it also, you can use it for... So let's say you're playing a first-person shooter game, Sarge, and you decide to train the monitor that anytime you see a sniper glint, okay, that when you see a glint on the screen, it knows where the sniper is. If you see a person, it knows where it's coming from. You know where the footsteps are coming from. All of this stuff, okay? You could train it to learn any kind of first-person, and here's the best part. It can't be detected because it's solely on the monitor itself, not the actual computer. Okay, so the computer looks at it as it's only going to be a monitor that's set up, but because the processing power of the thing that's happening is happening only on the screen and not internally into the computer, so not only is it bad for first-person shooters or other games that have competitive, okay, you can also hook this monitor up to an Xbox potentially or a PlayStation, and then you can also teach it, because if it knows, if you play Call of Duty on the computer and you teach it and monitor it or whatever, then you could put it on your Xbox or PlayStation 5, play through the monitor, and then it would also do the exact same thing.
If this monitor comes in under $600, first-person shooter gaming is over.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Lurker. If you will never play a PvP game again, because you just have to assume that everyone's using a fucking monitor like this, right?
What the fuck?
Do the wiggle. You have one of those monitors.
years. I spent years training hand-eye coordination, playing first-person shooters since I was a teenager, okay? Learning how the controller works, learning the dead zones of the sticks, learning when to press the trigger on what game, learning all this shit, and now you're telling me I can just go out and buy a monitor and just be whatever, bro?
Yeah, that's what we're saying. Yeah, so the CES... so there was a lot of stupid stuff at CES. I watched a video the other day. Did you ever see this thing called Bali, Sarge? Bali? It's a...
It's called like the city Bali?
No, Bali, like a ball. It's like a ball. Okay. So they originally showed this ball
Is this sponsored by Kevin Spacey?
No. In 2020, they showed this ball. Okay, it's a little robot. Looks like BB-8 a little bit without the top head, right? Just the bottom part of it. Okay.
All right.
Has a camera in it. It can project things. It's smart, right? And it was a ball. It would just roll, right? Like it just roll. They redid
a rolling ball called Bali. Okay,
yep,
go ahead.
Yep.
You got me interested now.
Yeah, I know you're interested, right? And then they showed it again at this CES 4 years later. and they redesigned it. Okay, it's still a ball, but now they put wheels on it.
Okay.
It's a ball that rolls, but instead of the ball rolling now it's got wheels on it. And I'm like, why did they keep it the shape of the ball? Because of the name Bally? I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose. It's got 3 wheels on it. It's got 2 wheels in the front and 1 wheel, little kickstand thing in the back, and it rolls. And I'm just like, this is stupid. But hey, whatever, right? Whatever.
So
I mean,
getting
made a whole another video of that.
Getting back to the monitor. So we have people battling it out, trying to prove
I'm better than you, Sarge.
who's a cheater and who's not a cheater.
That's right.
With all this kind of software and all this kind of crazy shit. Now I could just go buy a monitor that can't be detected at all.
Yeah, because how would it get detected? You wouldn't know.
You know what? I'm glad I witnessed the golden age of gaming. I'm glad.
Like every competitive game, Fortnite, Apex Legends, Overwatch, League of Legends, Team Fortress, everything. Any game that's competitive that people like to play, even the new games that are just coming out, right? The finals. Everything can be trained, and no one's actually playing anymore. Like, now everyone's like, it's almost like baseball in 1997 when Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were going head-to-head because they were all on drugs, right? And they're just smashing home runs.
Best baseball ever.
Ever, right? We were all entertained. And people are like, this is amazing, right? That's what this is like, right? It'd be like 2 head-to-head people. This guy's amazing, but they're all cheating.
So
all cheating.
Basically, if we combine that monitor with up-to-date AI, games are going to play by themselves software. Pretty much, you don't even have to play the game. You just basically watch your computer play the game for you.
I didn't even think about that. Right? Yep.
So probably in the next 3 years, we're going to have a fully AI computer playing first-person shooters with the monitor, and that's pretty much a wrap.
Yeah, their whole market's going to be streamers.
Yeah, of course it is.
Streamers, 100%.
Everyone's badass, bro.
Yeah, dude, this guy's crazy. How does he know? It's like right.
This dude's fire.
Then you would have to ask, right? Then there'll be new streamers that have a camera behind them, showing them their screen to show people that they're not using that screen and they actually have pure talent. Right? That's what it would be.
We have to keep it interesting. If you're letting an AI play your computer and you got a monitor that pretty much the AI can learn from, then at some point when those people fight it out, whoever loses has to kill themselves. Like we have to start eliminating.
It's like Highlander. It's like Highlander.
No, it's like Running Man. It's almost like Running Man. Yeah, it's like Running Man. Right. That's the only way. It's the only way we can get rid of some of these people. Otherwise, it's just going to be everyone. Dude, how does that work? Imagine. Listen. Let's fast forward 5 years.
Okay.
We're watching a championship round of some first-person shooter with team versus team, like 12 versus 12 or 6 versus 6, right? And basically, everyone's dying by one-shot kills from off-screen. Like it's just. Like, and it's everyone, like 4 guys are dead before anything even happens. Like it's incredible.
Well,
it's incredible how that man saw him a half a mile away through a wall and a mountain.
Well, it doesn't show you through the wall, but it does detect them. So what would happen though is if everyone was using this, then everybody knows where everybody else is. So it would just constantly just do this because you know what I mean? Because everyone would know where everyone else is. So no one would ever.
Everyone's doing the wiggle.
Everyone's doing this.
Everyone.
And they're like, they're gonna get me, and they're gonna be playing around. It'll be like that shot of Naked Gun where he's shooting the. And
it'll be the shittiest competitive match ever.
Just, and they're battling around the box. He goes around the wall. Wait, they're both going around the wall. No one can see each other because they both know where they are.
It'd always be a tie. Right? One shot kill, everyone's dead. And we're down to the last match. It's 6 versus 6, and the score is tied 5-5. This one decides it.
Yep.
No one wins. So they're all cheating.
Fast forward 12 hours into this event, and they're still running around the wall, and he's trying to get him, and nope, still didn't get it. And let's go back to the next ad break.
Brought to you by the same monitor that's making this game last forever.
Brought to you by MSI 3DO 321 MXXXB. Best monitor for gamers everywhere.
I don't get it, man.
So ridiculous.
The lazy factor, just incredible.
Well, they said they made it for people that have disabilities.
Of course they did. Of
So,
course they did.
yeah.
Well, how about this?
That's right, Jaggy. Longer games, more ads.
More ads. That's right, Jaggy. You got it, kid. Good call.
That's exactly right. Now the sporting game event will be just like a football game or the last 3 minutes of a basketball game where it's just foul, commercial break, foul, commercial break, foul, commercial break. That's exactly what it's going to
be. I can't believe it. I can't believe we got to this point now where just everyone's just cheating. That's it. It's fine. It's just fine.
There's so many peripherals that you can cheat. Now, if you have the monitor plus the other thing that you can plug into the thing, it's like, oh my God, it's like.
But I think we should go further. I think that if you have to buy the monitor, I think you need to have like a special doctor thing that you are handicapped. And those people that actually want to buy the monitor have to go through. They have to jump through literal hurdles to actually get the handicap monitor.
It's like having a handicap sticker for the parking lot. Yeah.
Right, and that way, at least you know that if all these guys are cheating, at least they know that Uncle Sam made money on them the entire time.
Yeah, it's I have glaucoma. Yeah, here you go. Here's your monitor pass. You can get your monitor now. I have a disability. I can't see.
Yep.
Get the pot.
I've got the gout. Got to get the monitor. Can't play with the gout. You know, gotta get it.
Says here you have a little disability. Here you go, and there's your monitor. Thanks, Doc. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I got cirrhosis. That's it. Psoriasis and cirrhosis. I got both.
You're cheating in the game. I'm not cheating. I got a disability. I got prescribed this monitor.
I liked it better when they used to show it. Now they haven't showed this in a while. Maybe I haven't been paying attention, but I liked it when they showed how they made controllers for people who are paraplegic or quadriplegic, and they could still play the game because the controller could do one that they could blow or blink, and the thing's watching their face, and they could do all the buttons just by their facial expressions and whatnot. I thought that was fantastic. Like the fact that they're actually doing that for people, awesome. This is an abomination. This is an abomination to anyone who plays video games, because now any moron can just spend $1,000 and be king of the hill.
Well, obviously, if it was a sanctioned event and they actually were in an event, they wouldn't have that monitor. But if they're at home in a tournament, then obviously they would use that. Right?
It's just sad.
So speaking of sad, let's go to the next story, which is Ubisoft Plus. Okay, new Ubisoft Plus and getting gamers comfortable with not owning their games. Okay, so Ubisoft is it? I say Uba or Ubi.
Ubi.
Is it
Ubi.
Is it Ubi?
No, it's Ubisoft.
It's Ubisoft. Is that how Americans say it? I mean, I'm American.
That's how you say it. It's Ubisoft.
All right, Ubisoft introduces its classic service to PC, and more to come to Activision Blizzard. Okay, so right now, Ubisoft main all singing, all dancing subscription offering could rebrand Ubisoft Plus, as the service is one of the features in all new releases, such as its week's Prince of Persia: Lost of the Crown, which is available early to the subscribers. It's also costs $17.99, and it's accessible via PC, Xbox, and Amazon Luna. In addition to the firm of adding Ubisoft Plus Classic to PC, the Classic option is already available. The PlayStation players via Sony owns a sub-offering, and the features back catalog games like Far Cry 6, Rainbow Six Siege for $7.99. Now, down below, it talks about how there's multiple behaviors, and explains. He says definitely a lot of people who come in for one game and then decide to buy it after the subscription ends. That's part of the reality, and that's okay with us. Ubisoft Plus premium price point exceeds in some cases, and the Xbox and PlayStation charge for their services. Some of this will be to do with the business realities behind putting brand new AAA games into subscription services. Okay. He goes on to say, we're talking the day one releases, and the games like Prince of Persia are also getting early access, and we already have Avatar, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and all of these games are available to play. The tremendous value already, and then there's the catalog to thousands of other dollars of games. He goes on to say, and then we just get the access to these games. You get the premium edition, so it's all the added content that comes with that. And they have rewards too. It's also the big advantages of Ubisoft Plus, which is that you get to play these across multiple devices from subscription, and you can access our titles through PC, Xbox, and Amazon Luna. Now, there is a part in this article. Let me find where it says. Where is it? Okay, this is the part. He continues to say, one of the things we saw is that gamers are used to is a little bit like a DVD, having the owning their games and the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection, And that's transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in the aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game to another time, your progress file is still there, and that's not been deleted. You don't lose what you've been built up in the game and your engagement with the game, so it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. I still have 2 boxes of DVDs, and I definitely understand where gamers' perspective is that, but the people embrace this model, and they will see that these games will exist and the service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel that it's reassuring. It feels reassuring. Okay.
It feels like it. It feels like it.
They want you to feel. This is the guy who's doing it to you, by the way.
It also feels like a dick in the ass.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. The fact that they're like, trust us. All your games are going to be there. We're not taking them away from you until they do, right? I mean, I literally this afternoon, I showed someone asked a question. I said, "Look, you used to own games, now you don't." I showed Battleborn, and I owned it. I have a disc, I have a package, I have a thing, right? But I don't own it. It's a coaster, it's a doorstop, it's it's a frisbee, whatever, right? Like, there's no reason to own the game. Now you buy a license. Like, look, I just want to buy a game. You're selling something, right? You're selling something, and I'm willing to buy the thing you're selling, okay? So I give you the money, I take the object, and now it's mine. I purchase it, now I can do what I want with this, right? If I want to use it as a frisbee, if I want to wipe my ass with it, if I want to use it for whatever, that's my business, because now I bought it, I paid you the money, it's mine. That's not how gaming is anymore. That's not how CDs and DVDs are anymore. You're buying a license for this thing, okay? And then you still control it. You still control it, and you can tell me when I can play it or when I can't play. You can take content out. You can do it, and that irritates me. I don't know how you feel about this.
We've talked about this in the past. I mean, I understand that this is the direction that we're going, and once again, I am happy to say that I am proud to have lived during the golden age of gaming, where you bought the console because the console had good games, and the competition between the games and the consoles kept it kept the imagination, the ingenuity, and the passion for gaming to keep growing. Right now, it's to see how little I can give you, and still you give me the monthly payment to keep playing the video game. Like, that's basically what we've gotten down to now, right? The one that irks me the most is the fact that the guy who wants you to play the game the most makes the best game possible, but it's free and it has microtransactions. But the guy who sells the game makes a shittier game, and then you have to wait 16, 18, 2 years for the game to get better after he releases it broke. Like, and I don't buy the fact at all that they're not making money or they're not making enough money. They overinflated their budgets. They're the ones that hired too many people. They're the ones that are using the microtransaction model as the basis for their sales, which is why you have things like Bungie saying they were 45% off their sales numbers. Anybody who's 45% off their sales numbers means that you don't have a proper product. Right? You can't be that far off. That's like guessing. Like, how many things are you going to sell today? I don't know, a billion? I'm going to sell a billion. Like, right. You're just making stuff up. But you know the day's coming. Right? And they just keep boiling the frog slower and slower until you're like, well, it's just convenient for me not to own the game. I mean, when I feel like playing God, bro, I'll just turn the fucking computer on and play the game when I want to play it. Right? Why do I want to have a disc on a shelf bothering me? Like, why do I want to have all this stuff in my house? Right? I just want to be able to sit down, plug in, take my gummies,
right,
and just pay for whatever I want. And that's it. Right? And besides, you're gonna get bored one day anyway. Why do you want that thing hanging around in your house?
Right. You don't need to own it. Right.
Right. You don't need to own it. Right. And it's slowly, not right away, but nice and slow. And no one will give a shit.
It's
fine.
Paul Gaming says, but you all said you guys rented games back in the day. That didn't change the fun you had with them. We're not talking about if it's fun or not. We're talking about ownership of the actual game. Now, obviously, when I went to Blockbuster and paid $3 to rent the game for 7 days or whatever it was, 5 days, 7 days, whatever it was. Okay, and I played the game, had fun, and returned the game because I didn't have $70 to buy the game back then, or $50 or $60.
Because you were a kid.
Right, because I was a kid. Right, and my parents were like, we're not buying that for you. And I went, all right, what about $3 to rent it for 7 days? They're like, okay, great, right? But if I wanted to buy that game, I could still play that game, right? And yes, you can still buy the game if you want, but again, you can't buy it digitally, right? Like, even Hellblade 2 is coming out, and it's only going to be digital. You can only buy that game digitally, okay? So you're either buying it digitally, and then if they ever down the road decide to shut the server off, or you stop paying for that service, or whatever, you will not be able to get access to your game anymore. Okay, and that's what it is. Anytime, right? I bought Battleborn. I bought it. It's got a single player aspect to the game, and yet I can't play the game. The game is shut down because of the online access of it.
Same thing with Transformers Devastation.
Yeah, it got delisted. When they delist certain things, then you can't access them anymore, right? So if I'm playing a game that I bought on the Xbox, and all of a sudden they delist it, where they can't play it anymore. Okay, you can't buy it anymore. You can't play it anymore. They're like, well, I'm sorry, it's not our fault. We had a contract with the IP, and the IP we didn't renew, so we can't let people play that game anymore, right? And I don't own that game anymore.
So what's the loophole then when your game was not online and I could play it, and the license they don't support it anymore, but I have the game, I can still play it? So the loophole is, well, because it's a hard copy, the loophole doesn't work, but since it's digital, the loophole goes back into effect. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, when you released the game was complete on launch because there was no way to update it. So the game had to be good, right? You had to make sure the game was good. And that's why a release date mattered, because you had to ship it, right? You had to have a release date because you had to ship it. Now it's the Wild West. I promise you whatever day I want. It doesn't come out when it comes out. When it does finally come out, it's not complete. Don't worry, we can patch it. Like, there's no loyalty or a responsibility for a proper product on the onset. It just happens when it happens, right? So originally, when you bought a game, even though it's a license and it's temporary, they really couldn't do anything about it, because it's not like they're going to go knock on 14 million people's houses and go, hey, time's up. Got to hang out got to bring back that game, right? Well, we don't have the license for it anymore. They didn't do that. You just happen to have the game, and you can still play it on your system.
So here's another problem, right? So right now, like my Xbox Series X has a disk drive, so I can still buy discs to put it in. But if I only have an S, you don't have a disk drive, right? So even if they sold you the disc, you bought the game, it's just digital. Now it's on the thing, right? Yep. That's it.
Yep.
Right? I have no interaction with that. I own a digital copy of something, right? You might be okay with it, Paul, right? You're like, oh, well, it doesn't take away my fun, and you didn't really own. I like owning my stuff. We own our car, we own our house, we own our furniture. We don't go to Rent-A-Center and rent everything and be like, well, it doesn't really matter. I don't really own the stuff. Like, I as a person in life, like, I'm not renting this mug. I own this mug. I paid for the mug, right? It's mine. I can drink from it. I can piss in it. I can do whatever I want with the mug because I own the mug. Okay. When I buy something, if I buy music, I can listen to that music. I can do whatever I want, right? You don't own anything anymore. You might be okay with that. I'm not okay with that. I want to own stuff, right? I want to own stuff. So here goes to the next. Go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say the next part is Baldur's Gate 3. Sven, I can't pronounce his name. Sven Vinky says Larian games won't appear on subscription services. Okay. He says multiple subscription services have emerged in recent years, and with the likes of Microsoft Game Pass, Sony's PlayStation Plus, and Nintendo's Switch Online all providing access to the library of games for monthly fee, but potential dominance of subscription services from just a handful of companies has sparked concerns about video game ownership, visibility, and preservation. Okay. It says, it's fair to say that the comments did not go down well with those who prefer the video games on disc, as opposed to downloading it and streaming them. Now, when Sven Boss, Baldur's Gate 3 marked, Larian Studios responded to offer developers' view in the series of tweets. Okay, he came down hard against the potential future in which subscription services are a dominant model. He says, quote, whether the future of games looks like, content will always be king. Okay, Venki also began, but he also going to be a lot harder to get good content in subscriptions because the dominant model and select group gets decided what goes on the market and what not, direct from the developer to players in this way. Now, he's continued by saying getting a board to okay a project fueled by idealism, okay, also impossible and needs room to exit or room to exist. Even again, the disaster subscription models will always end up being cost/benefit analyst exercises intend to maximum profit. Okay. He continues by saying There's nothing wrong with it, but as it may not become a monopoly or a subscription service, Venky continued, and he also already has depended on select groups of digital distribution platforms, and discoverability is brutal. And should those platforms all switch to subscription, it will all become savage. In such a world, by definition of preference of subscription services will be determined what games gets made. Trust me, you really don't want that. He says, to continue, he says, you won't find our games on subscription services, even if I respect that many developers are present in the opportunity to make their game. I don't have the issue with that. I just want to make sure that other ecosystems don't die because of the vulnerability. Okay, so I've said this in the past. We read an article from someone else that was in the industry and said that because video games are blowing up too expensive, they have to make cost-effective changes, right? Because they're just going to keep growing. They're going to hit a wall. And we read an article from the developer who made Tunic, not the guy who made Tunic, but the publisher who put Tunic out. And they said when Tunic was out, it was good because it was early on in the Game Pass stage. Okay, so it got put out there and people saw it. He goes, but the more and more, she said, the more and more games come out that we publish, it's going to be smaller and smaller, especially when Xbox gets more first-party titles and starts putting them on there. Okay, because then it's just going to drown out all the rest of the other competition that's out there. He's saying the same thing, right? Because people are going to be like, oh, well, we need a first-person shooter. We have a first-person shooter. Oh, we need a battle royale. Oh, we got a battle royale, right? They're filling in the gaps of things that they have with their first-party titles or their own studios. So when someone else comes in and tries to put something, they're like, oh, we don't need one of those, right? So the distribution, they'll be like, Game Pass, and everyone's going to go to Game Pass and not going to buy games themselves. So the value is that you have to make a game. Make a game, sell a game, okay? And that's what he's worried about. And then here we talked about Ubisoft, that they're making games. They want people to go on the subscription service. Microsoft wants everybody to go to the subscription service. PlayStation Plus is getting in on the subscription service. Pretty soon, I said this earlier this morning, pretty soon you're not going to have any console. PlayStation, Nintendo, Xbox. You're going to go on your television set, and you're going to highlight, just like you do now, Hulu, Amazon, Disney Plus, Peacock, whatever, ESPN, Fox. You're just going to pick a channel, pick an app, pick a software thing, and you're going to open it up. It's going to be your television. It'll say PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and you'll just click on one, whatever subscription model you have, and you'll pay for it, and that's where you'll be playing your games in the future, right?
Pretty much. I mean, how's that different from watching like Hulu or Netflix? The same thing.
The data's more because the gaming's more bigger than the actual TV shows and stuff. But yeah, but that's where it's going to go.
What I'm saying is it'll be the same thing. The same exact thing. It's going to be weird, man.
Paul Gaming says houses are the same places. You own the house, not the land. Not me, my friend.
I'm concerned on the level of which it doesn't give the developers any kind of pressure to want to release a game proper, because you get rid of the entire ability to want people to want a complete product. All they think about is the existence of the game on the service. It doesn't matter the state of the game, right? So in essence, if they keep going down this route, if people start getting a little bit more educated about it and they think, why am I paying $25 a month for every game to come out and they're all broke and I gotta wait 6 months, why bother?
Right.
And then it'll be like, who gives out the better price for the less shittier games, not for the best games? You'd be saying to yourself, who has less shitty games, right? Who has the less shitty games this month or this quarter,
right,
for me to want to play, not who has the best games, because there is no best anymore, because I don't need to release best. I just need to release a game.
Ingrid says, I don't know. I prefer not owning my games. A lot of pressure being a disc owner. Yeah, you got to feed it. You gotta make sure you water it. You gotta be really responsible to own your content, right? Got to make sure you clean off the disc. Make sure there's no scratches on it. A lot of work, a lot of upkeep. I like them taking the responsibility off me, where I don't have to clean anything. Or
do you know how much disc polish is? It's insane.
Yeah, it's you have to get a duster, and then an can of air. That's expensive. And canned air is expensive.
When they first started selling canned air for the purposes of cleaning off keyboards and computers, I laughed hysterically, because all I could think of all day long when they first came out with it was Spaceballs.
Yeah.
That's all I thought about. We're actually selling canned air to people, and they're buying it. because I guess dusting isn't enough.
That's what I felt about bottled water when it first got introduced.
Or a mini vacuum isn't enough. I got to get canned air.
I remember when we were kids, we would just drink water from
the hose,
like the hose and the faucet,
or
the
faucet.
Actual
tap.
Yeah,
I know.
Like that. And then when they started selling water, we're like, we're buying bottled water? Like, this is insane.
Well, because they spent 20 years convincing you that the tap water is poisoned.
Right.
And the water from the mysterious sources they kept saying was from are completely fine.
Well, Zephyr Hills, that's a couple hours from us.
Bathtub. Yeah, it's a guy's bathtub.
I've seen it.
Boss is just on.
Yeah. I've seen it. We could bottle the water. I have a stream right past my house.
I know, bro.
I could bottle it up.
But you realize when you get older, right? The whole purpose of bottled water, and this is a fact, this is not made up. The whole purpose of bottled water was that Coke and Pepsi had maxed out. They were not making any more money because selling
they hit their saturation point.
Which was everybody in the world, bro. I'm selling soda to everyone in the world. That wasn't enough. So then we had to convince people that the water was poisoned so we could sell bottled water to increase profits. Like, that's the reason.
Right. Yep. That's a whole other story. But yeah, I mean, video games, the way they're going, look, I hope there's more developers like Lorien Studios, right? Now, I understand it's privately owned. Right? Him and his wife can do what they want. There's no board of directors telling him what to do. Him and his wife go, this is what we want to make. This is how we want to do it. And now, because they're so successful for this, they're safe. They can go make the next game they want to make, right? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, it's called because it's called
business. Yeah.
Well, no, it's called you build trust with your clientele.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Goodwill.
Not only do you have the numbers of people that liked Baldur's Gate originally and came back to play that game, but because of all the hype surrounding it, you brought in another group of people that wouldn't play the game originally, and now they'll play it, and they want to see what it is. And you might have extended your RPG base because of it,
right?
Which is how gaming used to be. People would make great games, and then a great game, somebody else would say, "Hey, look at that game. That game is great. Let's see if we can make a game like that."
Right.
And they tried not copy it directly, but same type of game. Why do you think we keep getting the same type of game in the same type of year always? Like RTS come out as a bunch of RTS, right? There's puzzle games, a bunch of puzzle games, simulation games, a bunch of simulation games. Like, they all piggyback on each other because they all know what's coming out, and they're like, oh, let's do what they're doing. They're doing a good job, right? And games got better. Now what's the hook now? Do I have to make a better game than him? No.
Right.
Why would I want to spend the money?
Jaggy, you're not wrong. The whole Steam is digital only, but you can buy discs, but they're less, right? And that's just it. We're being conditioned to be okay with what's happening, right?
That's the point.
The point is you're being conditioned, right? Well, it's just like you just said. Well, all Steam is digital, so I guess what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do, right? So I play on console, right? I play a couple of games on Steam. My Steam library is not that big, right?
The computer thing is done. They hook, line, and sinker on that one. There's no disc on a computer anymore.
I don't even have a disc drive on my computer, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, now I'm holding on. I'm grasping onto the mountain. I'm like, no, I want my Xbox. My Xbox has still got a disc in it. I can still put a disc inside of it, right? But that's it, right? Once the next Xbox comes out, whenever that is,
that's it,
right? There's going to be no disc drive, and if they want a disc drive, they'll sell it separately, and they'll charge just as much as the Xbox was alone just for the disc drive, right? That's what's going to happen.
This is a sidebar, but I thought it was funny. Did you know that if you wanted to get a manual car today, like a manual car, it's now a premium?
Yeah, it's a premium price.
You're paying premium for a manual transmission than an automatic.
That's right. Because
that's madness.
Because it's harder for them to get it, and that's why you're getting it. Because there's less manuals than there are automatics. Everything's automatic.
Yep.
You can't even get a car now with a goddamn automatic, just a stick shift. It's just completely gone. Yeah, it's just a knob, a button.
I'm never buying a car that has a knob for a shifter.
You're not going to have a choice in a couple of years because all of them are going to have it. So you're going to ride a bike. You're going to be like,
and I will find an old car. I'll go back to the old car and drive it for the. I'm not shifting my car like this, bro, or like this.
I have a button. I'll be honest. We drive a Honda Pilot. Right? I got buttons. I just go. That's it. Just little buttons. Yeah, but that's it. They condition you to be okay with it. You're like, it's $1, just $2.
Right. That's it.
Kingard was talking about it the other day, right? He's got a video to go watch on his channel about the Call of Duty. Call of Duty started off with just a $2 microtransaction, right? And now it's like $25 microtransaction.
The infamous red dot,
right? It started off here and it's ended up over here. Okay, and that's it. They condition you to be like, hey, let's see how far we can push it. They spent $10, right? I give the example with Stealth. Stealth did a little thing when we talked about the Disney game, Mirrorverse, whatever it was called. And he's like, he paid for $1, and they bombarded him with the next thing. They charged him the minimum was $5, and he paid for the $5, and then the minimum was $10, and it just kept going up to a certain point because they're trying to figure out, well, how much is this guy willing to pay? Right. How much is he willing to pay? Oh, we got a whale. We got a kraken. Right? Give him the $100 one. See if he picks it up. Right? And that's what it is.
Release the kraken.
and that's where we're going. Right? So I like that Baldur's Gate 3 owner is like, I love that he did this. He's like, people are buying his game and then putting it on the internet and selling it for more. He's like, don't buy those. He's like, we're never gonna run out. You want to buy the game? Buy directly from us. It's cheaper. And we're not running out. There's no FOMO. You could just buy the game if you want to buy the game, right? And that's what we need. We need more of this, not more of, well,
but why
we're providing you a service.
But why do you think they jumped all over Larian when they said don't expect games to be this way, right? Why? Because
the model. Why? He's a disturbance in the workforce, right? He's going upstream, right? They're like, what is this guy doing? Why is he going backwards? What is he doing? He's giving value and for a good price? Wait a minute. You can get the deluxe edition for $80 with a poster and stickers and a thing and all this stuff, right? And they're charging $70 for a digital game that comes with absolutely nothing, and it's broke, buggy, unfinished, and it's got microtransactions in there, but the store works. The store works.
Always the store.
And Larian comes along and they're like, the fuck are you doing? You made a game, it's complete? Wait a minute, there's thousands of different things you can do in this game? Dude, what are you doing? Did you see Gollum? Did you see King Kong?
But you have to understand, you're not paying attention to it, but you have to pay attention. The way that they immediately pounced on them for what they did, and not in a good way. They just immediately said, no. You can't expect that from us. Like, they said it out loud.
Yeah.
Like, that's unheard of.
Don't make this the standard when this was the standard.
That's what you have to watch out for when they go against you immediately. Listen, you're over the target when you start catching flack. That's how it works. Like, they're doing something correct when everyone starts shooting at you, right? And it wasn't just one group. It was a concerted effort from multiple journalists and multiple developers saying, that's not how this works.
Yeah, we can't have this.
That's not how this works. That's not how this works. Like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah. And now it won Game of the Year. Now that's bad too.
Right, and that's bad for them. Everyone who ever said anything bad about them, that's also on the record.
Yeah. I think this year, Baldur's Gate could win Game of the Year again.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Just remaster it. Add like a new cutscene, right?
Right, because since the remaster can win.
Yeah, remasters can win, and just every year.
Larian should just remaster their game every year and just keep winning.
Just add one more mission, so you qualify for this year, and then you'll win ongoing game, best game. Yeah, you could just.
That would be the greatest troll ever. The greatest troll ever.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be good.
All right, the next story I want to talk about. We'll move on here. Microsoft Nadell talks about bringing games to Xbox console and also AI. We're not going to talk about the AI part, right? What I want to talk about here is this one paragraph right here. Okay. Now he says, yeah, obviously we're very, very excited about everything, and we're going to make gaming, especially with the close of the Activision Blizzard King. We think now that we have the ability to really do what we always set out to do, which is build great games. Deliver them to folks across all platforms, right? Which is Xbox and console and PC, and even including mobile gaming and cloud gaming. Now, a lot of people took this part right here, where he says, right, which is Xbox and consoles and PC and even mobile gaming and cloud gaming. Okay, and everyone's like, everything at Xbox is coming to third party. Xbox is done. Microsoft is closing down. Shop closed 2027. They're all done, right? It's like, you do understand that all consoles means the Activision games and stuff, right? Like Call of Duty is owned by them, and that is on PlayStation. That is going to Nintendo, right? There are games that are on the other system. Deathloop, which is owned by Microsoft, is on the other system. There are games that potentially could go to PlayStation, right? Or Nintendo Switch. But everyone thinks that everything's going. And yet today, Nintendo Direct, the Xbox Direct, the Devs Direct, okay, they announced 5 games. Okay, they announced 5 games today. And the 5 games that they talked about, okay, was 1 was Avowed. Okay. 2 was Hellblade 2. Okay. 3 was Visions of Mana. 4 is Aria, The History Untold. And 5 was Indiana Jones. Now, Mana is not a exclusive, right? It's on Xbox Series X, S, PC, and I don't know if it's coming to PC or PlayStation or Nintendo. It could, but this is not on Game Pass. This is just they didn't say Game Pass for that one. But we do know that Avowed's going to be on Game Pass and PC and Xbox. We do know Hellblade 2 is going to be on Game Pass and PC, right? We do know that Indiana Jones is going to be on Game Pass and PC, okay, and Xbox. And we do know that Aria is going to be PC, joining PC Game Pass on day one, but it's not on Xbox, right? It's just on PC Game Pass. So they announced that these 5 games were on Xbox. They didn't make an announcement that it was coming on PlayStation, right? Indiana Jones, and I find this very funny. People literally think this is like logic here, Sarge. They go, well, Indiana Jones is a big franchise. It's got to come to PlayStation because Indiana Jones is really popular, right? And I go, Spider-Man is a popular franchise, and you guys only have it on PlayStation. So how does that logic work, right? You're okay having a big franchise over here, and this company can't have it, but then this company has a big franchise, but they have to give it to you. Like, I don't understand the logic that these people form in their brain before they speak.
There isn't logic.
Right. So what do you think about Nadell's when he said that it's coming to Xbox, all consoles? And what do you think a lot of people took that out of context? Or do you think he really means that, yeah, down the line, Gears of War coming to PlayStation, Halo going to PlayStation?
I don't like talking this way, but this is the reality of the situation, right? This is about eyeballs and money. This is not about loyalty to a brand or exclusivity to a specific box, right? If a developer sits down, figures out the budget for their game, figures out what the maximum profit can be and the people they're going to reach for one system, the only way that they say yes to being exclusive to that system is if that system says, we're going to pay you this much money to be only on our system. Right. And in my eyes, if they're doing that, then I think on some level they're taking some type of loss because they're subsidizing the game. Right. Now, if the game company or the developers, however you want to speak about them, if they know how much money, because they know how good the product is, not because they're guessing. Right? Let's say it's a well-established franchise, like maybe it's a GTA or Mass Effect, like before the bullshit started, like old school Mass Effect. Like if you know that you're releasing that type of game, that you know that you want it to be on as many platforms as possible because you want maximum money. That's what you want, right? It's a business. I want maximum money. So it's up to the guys who are negotiating the price that if PlayStation wants Spider-Man all to itself, then that means that they had to sit down with the developers and they said, well, this is how much money we'll give you if you don't bring it on any other system. Right. And then the developers the company has to say, well, how much do you think we could have made if we did?
Well, we have 3-to-1 console ratio to that company, so right.
Understandable. And they're like, if we do this, does it benefit us or not? And they probably negotiate what that number is, right? Maybe they got some points in the back end, right? It's not just straight selling games. You got to remember this. Right. It's all about money. So if Spider-Man's only on PlayStation, let's say they offered them double what they would have made because, like you just said, there are less Xboxes, right? So you wouldn't have made exactly the same amount of money you would have made on PlayStation because they have less Xboxes, right? So let's go along with that logic. So they say, well, we'll give you this much money, but if we have this many people play on PlayStation, then we'll give you some bonus points in the back end. I'm sure something like that is not unheard of.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? So I can no longer look at exclusivity for any game because of a loyalty or because that box is better. It's always because they are trying to get leverage over the other company.
Right.
If I want an exclusive, that means I want people playing on my box. And they have their little nerd guys in the background doing all their math and like, well, if people play, we found out with our market research that if somebody plays a game for more than 30 hours, they spend this much money on the store or on this. And they go, so if we capture that many people, this is how much money we'll make based on these numbers. Right? That's how they talk. It's not about, hey, did we make a good game? Did we sell a bunch of games? Cool. Let's make another game. Like, that's not happening anymore. Right? It's about how much capture can we have on those people and how much money we can make on the product after the initial sale.
Right.
So this is where we are.
So
this is where we are.
This is where Xbox comes in, where people are like, well, Xbox has less consoles, but yet Starfield sold more copies, right? Because it's not about the console anymore. It's about the reach that they have. Over 6 million people bought Starfield on PC. It's like 6.5 million people bought Starfield, right? Why did they buy it when they could just play it on Game Pass, right? PC loyals bought Starfield and it outsold, right? And it made all its money back just off Steam. It made all its money back, okay, for Starfield. And then they made money off the people off Xbox as well, and it's successful, okay? But people don't want to believe that because they're like, there's no way, right? And I don't believe that more people bought it, but it did. That's what happened. More people bought it on PC, okay? Over 6 million people bought Starfield, and most of those people bought it at $100, okay? At $100, not at the $70 mark or whatever it was after the fact. They bought it because they wanted the early access and they wanted to get the DLC. So they bought it for the more expensive price. Okay. So what Microsoft is doing and what PlayStation is doing, sure, PlayStation is doing the exact same thing where they're taking their games and putting it on PC, but they're not doing day and date. Where right now, if you're a gamer, you just need to buy 2 consoles. It's either Xbox and Nintendo or PlayStation and Nintendo. You don't need a PlayStation and an Xbox because if you have a PC, you can play all Xbox games on your PC through Game Pass. If you have a television set, you can play all Game Pass games through your subscription model over here. And if you have a PlayStation, you can stream your games. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I don't know because I don't have PlayStation, right? PlayStation Plus, can you stream it on the cloud and stuff like that? Or do you need a PlayStation to play PlayStation Plus, right? And I'm asking, I don't know, okay? But really, if you just own one of those consoles and a PC, you're pretty much covered because you can try all the games out and do all the things that you want to do. You don't need to spend an additional $500 to get one of the big consoles or the other. Right? But you have to wait 2 years to get Spider-Man on PC. You have to wait 2 years to get Ragnarok.
Right, but don't you think that they're just following the movie model? They're just like 8 years behind. Like when movies came out in the theater, they were in the theater for as long as possible, right? Then they pulled them out of the theater, and then they went to rental.
Yeah, rental first,
right? And then Blockbuster rented them.
Then
after that,
then it went to HBO.
Then it went to HBO.
Yeah, HBO or something like that.
And then they sold it.
Right. Then they
sold it in the stores.
Yep.
But that was like a 2-year gap, right? That was like a 2-year gap, sometimes 3 years before you would see the movie for sale because it had to go through all this process. Now it's digital, right? If the movie makes it in the first 3 weeks or it doesn't, they don't care. Boom, it goes to the service because they got to sell it off to a Netflix or whatever else because they got to get paid, right? And then it goes to another service, and then it goes to another service. And now nobody buys it physically anymore. So now you don't wait 2 years anymore. If a movie comes out in December, right, it's in your house by February.
Yep.
Or March. Like we've lost the entire 2 years.
It's like 17 days, something like that.
Yeah, but this is what they're doing with games, right? The model you're talking about is correct. PlayStation wants their game to come out for sale for as long as possible. And then when the number drops off far enough, then it goes to PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Right?
Real quick, chat saying, yeah, we know about the live service games coming, right? And I just want to say, I called that over 2 years ago. I said that PlayStation will have to change and go day and date. And everyone's like, never going to happen, 30. It's never going to happen. Meanwhile, Helldivers 2 and Foam Stars are coming to PC and PlayStation day and date because they're live service games. It would be stupid not to do it because they have to get as many people to play the game as possible to get.
That's the goal,
right? That's what they're doing, right? Not a shocker to me. I knew they're going to do it, and I said that the first party titles, single player games, within the next 2 years they're going to make them first party, and that's before the leak came out. Okay, I said that Spider-Man and God of War are going to be day and date on PCs because it's stupid. The people that want to buy your game are not going to buy your game because the PC players will be like, I'll just wait 2 years. I'll wait a year. I'll wait the 18 months. I'll wait the 2 years.
You waited 5 years. What's another year?
Right.
But my issue with PlayStation is I think they don't want to do it right away. I think they want to do a test. They want to see if they did it for such and such game, what the numbers say. Like, did we get more people on board for the PlayStation Plus because of it or not? I don't think they want to do it definitively, like right away and say from this point on, day and date for everything. I think they're still concerned that they're leaving money on the table because they want to sell the $100 game, bro. And not everybody wants to buy the $100 game.
That's where the FOMO comes in and get the game 5 days early access, right? 3 days early access, 5 days early access.
Well, like I said, I think I would not be surprised if PlayStation gambled on a first-party title sometime soon to see whether or not it pulls enough people into the PlayStation Plus ecosystem. I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't think they want to do day and date for everything right away. I don't think they've come to terms with that yet. They might be thinking about it, and you may be correct.
Right now,
but I don't think they want to do it for every game.
No, they might not do it for every game, but I'll tell you what: if God of War Ragnarok came out and they sold 5 million copies on PlayStation, and then they sold additional 2 million, they would have sold 7 million on day and date. But instead, they sold 7 million when they opened it up for PC. Like Spider-Man sold, I think it was like 2 million copies on PC, but it came out 18 months or 20 months after it launched on console. Like, just open it up. The PC players are going to play it on PC. They'll wait. They're not going to buy a PlayStation so they can play the game, right? And that's the biggest problem is the saturation point. I talk about this on blue in the face. The saturation point for all consoles is 350 million market, right? Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are all fighting for 350 million people, right? 122 million or 155 million, I think it is now or 133 million, sorry, for the Switch out in that's how many consoles they've sold. The PlayStation 5 is on its way. It just passed, I think, 60 million. Okay, so it's like 50 million or 60 million. Okay, even if it gets to 180 million or 200 million, that's it. It's not going to go past that point. They've hit their saturation point, so they have to spread out and make to PlayStation Plus for subscription service. They have to put it on PC. They have to do these other things, right? This is why they're selling the other VR. This is why they're selling the Portal. This is why they're selling the other things, because it's just other avenues to double dip, like you just said with Coke, right? Coke had a double dip, so they bought water, and then they started selling water, right? That's what they're doing. That's what they're Microsoft. Like, hey, you want to buy a PlayStation or you want to buy an Xbox? Sure. You want to play on the TV? Sure. You want to play on the PC? Sure. Like, they don't care. They're like phone, tablet. They're like, that's our model. We don't care. We don't even care if you buy an Xbox. We just want you to get the Game Pass and play where you want, right? And that's the fundamental difference. There's Nintendo and PlayStation that are living in the world where the world was, where consoles were king, and you had to sell the console and then sell the software. And Microsoft's like, fuck it, we don't even care about the hardware. We just want to sell the software.
And I'll be honest with you, the part that we don't talk about often because we don't know enough about it, because we haven't done enough research about it. But I think the amount of money made in the mobile market far, far surpasses anything we're discussing in console market. Like to the point where it would scare you to see the numbers.
Right. Well, what Paul's saying is like it's not even 350 million people, right? People who own more than one console is far smaller than you think. Yeah, right. But what I'm saying is that there's 1.4 billion people that have like devices out there, PC, mobile phones, everything, and that's what Microsoft was going for. They're not just fighting for that 350 or 300 million people.
Yeah, I'm fully believe that mobile market is harvesting more money than you could possibly imagine. And then we're talking about, like you said, 350 million people, and we're battling it out. Who hates what? The loyalty. I'm on Xbox, guy in my place. Meanwhile, the mobile market's every human on Earth.
Right.
The mobile market is for every human on Earth. What kind of game can I find to get a little bit more of the humanity on there, paying me a couple bucks a day? Like, it's almost. I want to say it's kind of like the lottery that you're not allowed to do, But if you're a game developer on mobile, you're actually making lottery for yourself, right? You know how they say in states no one can make a lottery, right? The state can do the lottery, but no one else can make a lottery game. You're out of your mind. You're done. That's illegal, right? But for some reason, if you're a developer and you make a mobile game, you basically just made the lottery for you. You know what I mean? Because you're not just selling to the state or your county, it's the world.
Right.
So if you get people to play your game and then to keep donating to your game, that's the lottery, right? The winning part of those mobile games is if you get the extra crystals or energy or whatever it is that helps you play longer, that's the win, right? But meanwhile, you're still donating. I think I'm going to do some research next couple months. I'm going to start looking at the mobile markets, and I want to start figuring out what they're actually making. I think it would terrify.
They're making billions, man. They're making billions. Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Like people are worried about like Starfield and Cyberpunk, right? Candy Crush and Monopoly make more money than the lifetime of Grand Theft Auto, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like they make a ridiculous amount of money.
Ludicrous money.
But Clash of Clans, Dungeon, whatever.
Clash of Clans is low on the list, bro.
All right,
those new ones that are out are the ones that are making all the money, and Candy Crush, of course, but because Candy Crush has been around forever.
All right, I want to jump to the Direct, right? The Xbox Direct, in particular. Okay, we have the first thing they showed was Avowed. Okay, Avowed came out, and Avowed is launching in fall of 2024. Okay, it's coming out for Xbox, PC, or Xbox Series X, S, PC, Cloud, and joining Game Pass on day one. Avowed, as director, said that not only will it make a narrative decision to make the impact changes in the game down the line, but Avowed is also looking to offer choice in combat. Gameplay director discussed not only how varied the weaponry will be, but with melee weapons, range guns, bows, magic-based wands, dual wield, and also named a few, but also flexible combat that can allowing the quickly change loadouts in the game. Let me bring up some gameplay of Avowed real fast so we can see. Okay. So do this, and I'm gonna put it at go fast here because we're not listening to sound. We'll put it on 2 speed so we can just see it. Right. I think this looks great. I know a lot of people were upset because of what they showed a couple years ago, what Avowed looked like, and then they showed a couple last year, and they're like, I don't know about this. Okay. This looks pretty good, man, and I'm intrigued by what they're showing here, right? I like the weapon stuff that they showed. I like the combat that they showed. It looks good. It looks fun, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited about this, right? I'm putting it faster speed as we talk about it, guys. But look, Obsidian. I said this a couple weeks ago, right? Obsidian hasn't made a bad game to me, right? I like how Obsidian makes games. I like how they tell stories. Right, I like their games from Fallout Vegas to Grounded. Okay, they make really good games. I like Outer Worlds. They're working on Outer Worlds 2. They're doing Avowed. Okay, they do good games. And I don't know if people hate because it's a Microsoft thing, it's on Game Pass, and they're giving it shit. But the game looks good, man. Here, I'll slow it down so you can actually see the gameplay at normal speed here. Right? Right. The gameplay looks good. And I don't know why people are like upset with this, right? And people are like, "Well, it looks like a VR game. It looks like a VR game." I think it looks fine. If you told me this was Skyrim, I'd be like, "Oh wow, they updated Skyrim." What do you think about this, Sarge?
The only thing I'm concerned about is the magic system, and I talk about this all the time with Skyrim and the rest of these games. Like, I want to know what the mechanics are involved with a spell list that you have, and how do I access that list of spells from a controller point of view? I heard the ability to switch on the fly to different weapons without going to an inventory screen to switch out weapons and stuff like you did back in the day, which I think is amazing. But for me, if I'm doing a magic build, then I want to know, how am I casting spells without stopping the combat? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you have 2 spells or 3 spells per wand, do you choose them and they're just stuck on the wand, just like back in the day for Skyrim? You only have 2 spells, 1 on each hand type of thing. Like, the innovativeness of them being able to switch on the fly, once again, amazing. But I want to know, is the same thing available for a magic-based build where I have spells on lists and I can just do a quick check on the controller and I can just cast what I want to cast.
It looks like you
know
could
what I mean?
swap it out real fast. Yeah. Dave Rose says the combat animations looked way too clunky and stiff.
That's because they don't have a beast machine playing it. That's why.
I don't know.
You probably have a beast machine at home, Dave. You're probably ready for it. They probably don't have a beast machine.
He plays on console.
Does he?
Yeah. I think this looks fine for what it is, right? And here's a good part. We don't know the price of these things, right? Like, this is not a $300 million game like Spider-Man 2.
We don't know.
We know. This is not that type of game, right? This is not a AAA game like a Grand Theft Auto that's costing $500 million. This is probably in the mid-range of, I would say, between 100 and 175 mil, maybe less than 200 mil. Okay? And the price point of it is, what the quality of it is, it's going to make that money back, just like Starfield did, right? Starfield cost supposedly like 200 mil. Okay? Spider-Man cost 315 mil. Starfield sold 6.5 on Steam alone. Spider-Man needs to sell 7 million. It's going to make that money, but it has to sell more to make the more revenue back, right? So, right. And what Microsoft is doing, and people, this is not a shake at Sony. Sony is making more higher end games, and they need to sell higher end, more copies of that game. Where Microsoft is selling this, if you want to call it mid-tier, like low 80s, mid 80s, and a mid 80 game costs less than 300 mil, costs less than 250 mil, and they can make that money back faster than someone that's spending 300 mil or 350 or 400 or 500, right? So as these games accrue more price, Microsoft is trying to keep their prices low, and like Grounded made a crap ton of money for Obsidian. Okay, like it made good money for them. Same with this. Same with like Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush was successful. Didn't cost them hundreds of millions of dollars to make that game. So they have their thing, and then people say Microsoft looks cheap, doesn't look as good, doesn't look like a full game, but they don't know the budget of these things. And they know what the budget is to get their return on investment based on where they're putting it, and they're putting it everywhere, right? They're putting it everywhere for people to buy.
Right, because they want to recoup the money as fast as possible. Right? And also probably because nobody's offered them money to not be somewhere else. Right?
Right. Well, they're owned now by Microsoft, so yep. And this game right here could easily come to PlayStation. Easily come to PlayStation. They'd be like, yeah, going to PlayStation. Like, why wouldn't they? But they don't want to, because this is another factor of, oh, we're going to come to Game Pass, right? This is another game on Game Pass first-party title, which then goes back to the conversation that Lorian Studios' head was saying, that the more first-party titles that come out for these live service, for these subscription models, it's going to be harder for a third-party game to get in there to get the viewership and to get sales, right?
Agreed.
So this is about. Then they showed. I'm not a big fan of Hellblade, right? Hellblade. I'm not even showing Hellblade stuff, but Hellblade comes out, and this has a date, right? The first one, Avowed's coming out in 2024. It says it's coming out fall of 2024. Hellblade. Maybe. What's that?
Maybe.
Well, right. Well, fall, right? It could get pushed.
Maybe.
Right. It could get pushed, right? This one has a date, May 21st, right? And a lot of people, they even said that it's going to be a smaller, I don't know the exact quote they said, but it's going to be a smaller game, right? I think it's even sold at $50, so that means it's also a smaller game. So, again, return on investment, how long they put into it, right? I think it's 5 years since the last one, and then there was also, COVID in between. I think 2017 was the last one when it came out, 2017, 2018, and then they started making this one. Here we are 5-6 years later. Take a year and a half away because of what happened. So Ninja Theory took behind the scenes of the studio Cambridge and takes a look at Hellblade 2. Met with some team and learned more about the behind the scenes. It says, the video, we learned more about the new journey in which we heard in the Iceland harsh and brutal land ravaged by the myth of tyranny. It was also given the new look and experience of the world and seen through the eyes of someone who experienced of it, and some of the versatile and violent battles within it. And we also heard more details on what players can expect from the game's story and how Binaural, I don't know how to spell that, Binaural, I don't know how to, can't pronounce that one. But with the studio's mission to craft life-changing art with game-changing tech, Ninja Theory is pushing the boundaries, fidelity, richness, and immersion, and can also join her on her request on May 21st. It looks good. I mean, it does look good, but I have no interest in Hellblade. I didn't play the first one. I'm not going to play the second one, but I hope it's a good game for people that are interested in it. Then they showed this was the kind of sleeper of the show because they said there was only 4 games, and then they showed this one, which was the Vision of Mana. Vision of Mana is from Square Enix. And this is a huge, like 15 years. There's a whole bunch of games in the series. I've never played any of these games. Have you ever played one of the Mana series, Sarge?
Long time ago.
Okay. I've never played it. So
long time ago, back during the days of Final Fantasy.
Okay. So
like between Final Fantasy 2, 3, 6, 7, right around those time I played a few of them.
Yeah, it looked good, Dave. I'm not interested in that either. It's not my type of game. History Untold, Aura, History Untold. These are the people that made Civ 5 and whatnot. They're pushing the envelope of what you can do in this game. It looked good as well. I used to be a big Civilization fan. Like I used to love these type of games. I don't know if I'll jump into this one.
But I appreciate it because they're trying to develop it past where it is now. You're trying to grow in a different direction. I applaud that them trying to upgrade Civ. Like Civ has always been kind of upgrading each time.
Yeah.
But this one's taking it to like an entirely different area. But at least they're trying.
Yeah. This was it looked great. It did. I just don't know if one, as a content creator, a lot of people don't really like watching this type of stuff playing on stream because it's very slow.
Like watching paint dry.
Yeah, it's like watching paint dry. So I usually don't get it, but it's coming to PC and PC Game Pass as well. And then we had the big one that everyone was waiting for, and I nailed a couple things with this one. I said that I hope it's between 2 of the movies and takes place in the older. I don't want it to take place in the newer realm. I want young Indy, and they gave us young Indy. I said that it would be Harrison Ford's face, obviously, because he's Indiana Jones, right? And I said Lucasfilm owns his face. They signed Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and him signed their life away back in the day. So literally, Lucasfilm owns his likeness. Okay, but they didn't get him to voice it. And Troy Baker is the actor who will be voicing him. And I have to say, in the trailer, does a pretty goddamn good job of showing the chops that he had for it. So we'll show a little bit of the trailer here.
A little bit nervous.
No, I don't want no volume. I don't want to hear Todd. Okay, and it looks great, man. I was a little worried of what it was going to be, but I'll tell you what. This is my RoboCop. This is my RoboCop of 2024. Okay, RoboCop to me was a surprise hit, and I think this is going to be a good game. I think that this is that game that the nostalgia factors all over the place, just like RoboCop. It's a first person, just like RoboCop. It takes place between 2 of the films, just like RoboCop. Okay, this is RoboCop 2024 for people in our age bracket. Okay, it looks good. It looks good. The visuals, the audio. I thought even the gameplay mechanics with the whip, and they said you could use the whip for everything. You can use it to figure out puzzles, action sequences. You could use it for a bunch of different things. There's puzzles. And we talked about this last week. Like, what kind of game do we think that Indiana Jones is going to be? And I said, it's got to be at the base level. It's got to be like Uncharted and Tomb Raider. And my only complaint about this whole thing is I wish it was a choice of first person, third person, not they tell me when it's first person, third person. I don't know what it is. I mean, I like that. Obviously, you're playing Indiana Jones, so you know who you are. But there's something about these games that maybe they didn't want to do it because, 1, they didn't want to be compared to Uncharted and Tomb Raider, and 2, Machine Games makes first-person type of games, and that's why they did it. But they do let you go into a third-person perspective, like you see here when he's swinging or climbing and stuff like that. But for the most part, it is first-person. So what do you think about this, Sarge? Are you excited in any way, shape, or form of Indiana Jones? Or are you just kind of like, whatever?
Listen, I know it's going to sound bad, but I've been listening to so much crap over the years. Like, I don't get excited anymore. I'm hopeful, and I wait for the game to actually come out to be reviewed, and if it's good, I might pick it up. But like, because it's Indiana Jones and because it's Harrison Ford, to me, get all giddy about it anymore. I don't care. I've been lied to for too many years. Does it look good? Yes. Does it seem fun? Like it's going to be like a movie-esque type of thing? Like you are Indiana Jones? Yes. I agree with all that. But Do I have that? Do I have like the little butterflies on my stomach? Like I can't wait to play it? No, those days are over.
Oh, see,
I'll wait for the game to come out and we'll see how it goes. Listen, I didn't kill the kid inside me. They did.
But it's on Game Pass, Arch.
I don't care.
You don't have to buy it.
I don't care. I don't care.
I got a little giddy about this. I was like, oh, this looks good. I was like, I'm excited that it looks good. I'm excited it looks good.
If it's good, it's good. I get it, but
yeah. Like I said, a lot of gamers, developers, in my opinion, like Starfield. I like that.
I get it, Salty. It's free. I get it.
I like that you can play Starfield in first person, third person. I like that you can play Star Wars Battlefront in first person, third person. I personally think that should be a standard. I totally get that the artist that creates the game decides on what it wants to be. But if you're going to put first person and third person in your game, be the choice, right? Like you are making, now obviously they're trying to tell a story. You're telling a story and you're going to change the camera based on what's happening, which is fine. It's not a make or break it for me. I want to see indie. I know I'm indie. Like right now I could be Jack Burton, right? I could be whoever I want because that's who I'm pretending to be. But yeah, I'm excited about this because I really like Uncharted. I really like Tomb Raider. And now I get to play looks like a decent game. And hopefully it says 2024. It comes out sometime this year, but again, that could be pushed, right? I'm gonna say, like, what do we got? We had May for one of their games. We had fall for one of their games. We had maybe August, maybe September, like later in the year. It takes place between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade. So, and it's called Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Not the greatest name, but
well, everything comes back around.
Sure, I guess.
Right, everything comes back around. That could be like a little dig on everybody.
So I asked, right? I asked Kinger this yesterday on the show. Do you think this game? Obviously, I don't think it's going to be a live service game, but do you think they take this game and then just add DLC to it, like expansion packs to it, like little episodes? Because that's what Indiana Jones was, right? Like it's like little pack episodes.
We discussed this. We said it would be a cross between Alan Wake and Lara Croft, and that's basically what it is.
Yeah, with the first person. Yeah. Well, Alan Wake, wasn't it third person and first person? I'm not sure. I think
it's an adventure game, right? It looks promising. I'm not shitting on it. It looks promising. I wait until the product. Your trailer does not speak to me anymore, right? Your trailers about your video game no longer speak to me.
Right.
The game upon release and how the game plays is what speaks to me now. I don't care about anything else. I don't.
I'm also pretty excited that Troy Baker, the voice, when I heard it, I was like, is that Harrison? And then I heard it a little bit more, and I was like, no, it's not Harrison. I did say in my Discord, I was like, it's probably Troy, and it is Troy, which is funny because Troy played Sully in Uncharted. He didn't get the part as Nathan Drake, right? And he got Sully, and now he's the main character in Indiana Jones, which I think is funny.
I think you'd rather be Indiana Jones than be Alan Wake. I got news for you.
What's that?
I think you'd rather be Indiana Jones than Alan Wake.
No, you mean Nathan Drake. Yeah. What I think is pretty hard, I think he'll obviously be nominated for an award if it comes out this year, and only because to imitate somebody, right? Like if you're a character of a brand new series, you're the voice of that character. Like you don't have to make a voice and like try to mimic somebody else. Right.
But he did a good job, though.
Right. But he has to mimic Harrison Ford, right? He's got to sound like Harrison Ford because it's already an established character. So I think he'll be obviously nominated for.
Well, let's not get crazy here. If he's a voice actor, you watch the actor in the movies he did, Indiana Jones, and you try to mimic.
No, absolutely. Troy Baker's a great actor. What I'm saying is, though, it's a much harder sell to mimic somebody than it is to just be a voice of a character and be a good actor, right? You have to mimic the person.
I don't think Harrison Ford was acting during Indiana Jones. I'm pretty sure that was just his normal voice. He wasn't using any accents.
Well,
or like,
even better,
changing his voice. You just talk like Harrison Ford. You're good to go.
Yeah. Well, famously, Harrison Ford said, I forget what talk show he was on. He said it's really hard to do a Harrison Ford impression. No one's done a good one yet. So we'll see what he thinks about Troy Baker doing one.
Mark Hamill does an impression of Harrison Ford.
He does a really good one. Yeah, he in front of Harrison. He's done it. Yeah. Bro says Troy might do his own thing. I mean, did Chris Pratt? So like Mario. Well, it sounds like he's sounding like Harrison Ford. Like in the audio that we heard, he sounds like he's mimicking or trying to. Like here, I'll put it right this spot right here.
Fight. What do you mean a fight? We always love.
It's hard. It's hard to hear, but I mean, he sounds like Harrison, or he's trying to sound like Harrison. So I'm excited. I'm excited about Indiana Jones, and I'm excited about Avowed. So the out of the 5 games they showed, 2 games I'm excited for. And they saved me $140, right? Because they're like $70 games, $60 games, whatever. So jokingly, I was like, I'm gonna go out to lunch today because they just saved me $140 because this year I'm gonna get 2 games to play. Right. So that's Indiana Jones. What did you think of the games they showed in the direct? Do you think? I mean, I don't think they had to come out swinging. I thought there was a
no, but they showed enough of gameplay for you to get an idea of what's coming down the pike.
Right.
They wanted to make sure, and the format of the show was decent. They were speaking about how passionate they were about the games. It wasn't just something that they were told to make. They were trying to make that abundantly clear on how much they loved to do what the project was that they were doing. You know what I mean? Like, and each game was done the same format. Like, this is our studio. This is what we love. We're so honored to do this game. Like, they were following the same format the entire time, and the entire time they're showing you gameplay, right? Which is basically textbook for gamers. Show me the game, right? I don't care if Bob's worked on the game since he's been 12 out of his garage, but show me the game. Like, show me the gameplay. Show me what's going on. So they did a nice job. Once again, I don't see dates. I see areas of the year.
I see hopes.
If it comes out, it comes out. We'll see. We will see.
We've said this before. I'm okay with them just giving an area of time and not a specific date, because if it's a specific date and then they're like delay, you're like, oh, okay, check, right? Like, but if it's an area, it doesn't feel, because you're like, all right, it's open up right now. It could be late, and then if they delay it, then you're like, oh, okay. Right, so I'm okay with them doing what they're doing here. The last story I want to talk about is Suicide Squad. Okay, they just came out with a little banner. There's a stream tomorrow. Shroud, Dr. Lupo, and someone else is playing. I forget the third guy. I forgot his name. But they're doing a stream tomorrow to show off Suicide Squad before the weekend, and then on Monday they're coming out and they're showing a episode 3 Suicide Squad Insider introducing Elseworlds. Now, Elseworlds obviously
Elsewhere or Elseworlds?
Elseworlds. Okay, Elseworlds. So obviously you can think
that's a made up word, isn't it?
Yeah, Elseworlds. So I'm assuming, based off just that word, that Brainiac's going to be teleporting in other chunks of things from other places and bringing them into Metropolis, and Metropolis will change over time. And the reason I'm saying that is because in a tweet, I got one from Jarv, and then I also have one from Lejeune. So we'll go down here. It says, okay, I want to talk about Suicide Squads because last week we did the show, and then Friday they came out with a Discord Q&A type of thing, right? So I want to kind of talk about on this show. A lot of people are giving Suicide Squads a little bit of shit, which is, it is what it is. And I think they're giving it shit more because of live service. Now, I did a poll on my stream, and it's like 89% of the people are either playing it for the story or they're playing it for all the above. And all of the above is the live service aspect, the looter part, the story part. So 89% of the people, 1%, we have like 455 votes or something like that. 1% wanted live service out of that, okay? So everybody else is there for the story and for all the stuff, the looter and whatnot. The highest one is all of the above. So in this game, they have stuff in this game that other looters took years to get. Some of them didn't even get these things in it, like loadouts, okay? So they have 4 unique characters, which we know, the 4 characters. You can go watch those videos that I showed and whatnot, and other people have it as well. There's 7 item rarities, okay? Meaning there's common, uncommon, rare, legendary, notorious, and there's one more in between. I forget what the one's in between is called. There's talent trees that I did videos on. There's loadouts. Now, the loadouts, there's 8 loadouts per character, I think there is. But I saw there's 8 loadouts. Regardless, there's loadouts in the game, okay? Which Destiny still doesn't have loadouts, and And Marvel's Avengers had a loadout tab that blinked for 2 years, and they actually didn't have a loadout, right? So no loadouts there. So there's crafting and customization. One of the big things that they brought, and I think this is the big change they made. One, they're working on a offline mode where you don't have to be online all the time, okay? And two is that there's no gear score. And I think this is a very, very smart move on their part, especially as a live service game coming out at this time, okay? One, I think this game's going to get more shit on than it needs to, but at the same time, I think it's coming out almost at a perfect time. Hear me out here, right? Right now, Destiny's at a lull, okay? I'm not saying this is a Destiny killer in any way, shape, or form. All I'm saying is right now, people are kind of burnt out with Destiny, and the next expansion doesn't come out until like a little bit later, and this game's going to come out, and it's going to fill that void of people trying it out just to see what it is, okay? Then Division's also kind of on a lull, right? They're making that update that we talked about earlier, but they're just kind of whatever, right? It's out for 5 years, and people are just hanging around waiting for like the next Division type of thing. So I think they've positioned themselves really well right now with this game because they know this is like a slow part of the time. Nothing's really coming out, and they're like, let's put this looter out here at this time frame and see what happens, right? So with the no gear score, Sarge, I think that the new gear score is like the best part that they've added to this game because when you start playing the game, you can just level up and just keep leveling up. And there's no gear. The gun's the gun. So if you remember our podcast in the very beginning, episode 1 and 2, okay, I said, I want to play a game where I have my gun. And if I want to use that gun for 3 years from now, I want to be able to use that gun. And that's what they're doing. There's no gear score. There's no gun. Like, if I find a pistol with my build, I can make the synergies around that build with that weapon. And if the game lasts 3-4 years, then I can still use that same gun that I got day one because I like the rolls that happened on it. I like the afflictions I put on it. So what do you think about the no gear score? Do you think this is a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? You have to see it first to see how it's going to work.
I don't know initially because the way that the powers are described, you earn the points and level up the trees, and then the powers become stronger within the tree, by how many points you have in them, or they change the ability. If I don't have a gear score, then in my mind, it just is the skill tree of like a Borderlands, where once the tree is full, then you're just deciding on what weapon combos with what switch around inside.
Right, you can respec anytime you want, though. You can respec anytime you want.
No, I get it, but you don't. But what I'm saying is, once the tree is filled out, there's no longer any reason to try to level up anything within the tree. You have the tree, right? Now,
now there's other talents though. There's squad talents, and then there's also what's it called?
So now, if they're using the weapon, if they're using
Paragon system, sorry,
that's fine. If they're using the weapons as the catalyst for different loadouts for the different abilities you have inside the tree, then not having a gear score on the gun is fine. But if the guns are not like the centerpiece, you're not like, I picked this gun to use this kind of build. You know what I mean? Like, if the gun is the catalyst,
well, no, because you're going to be putting afflictions and mods on the weapons to make them that.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. If that's the way it's going to run, then it has some longevity. But usually the gear score represents your time in the game and your abilities on the character. So not having gear score means that you have to give the people enough variation with the weapons in order for loadouts to even matter.
Right.
Right.
So they got squad talents as well. Squad talents is another thing where if you level up your character past 30, you're going to start earning squad talents. And then you take those talents. So if you only play like one character and then you get to level 30 and then later you play your other characters, they're going to be a little bit more powerful than they would have been if you didn't get the squad talents. You know what I'm saying? So it starts to build up your squad total.
That's the part of the game where I'm a little uncertain. I'd like to see how it plays out. I want to watch when you guys play and start borrowing each other's characters inside the game to see how it goes.
That's not squad talent. That's squad social squad.
No, I know, but that whole aspect of the game to me sounds a little strange. I want to see how that plays out.
So then there's the evolving destinations. So the area itself might change over time. You know, just to put an example, let's say Mr. Freeze comes in and makes the snow everywhere. Then like Metropolis could be snow filled. You know what I mean? Like something like that could happen. Okay. They have Social Squad, which bonus awards. Now, Social Squad is this thing where Lejeune talked about this in his video. He was the only one that talked about this, and then they came out afterwards in the Q&A and talked about Social Squad. But Social Squad was talking about how if you have a King Shark, Sarge, and you're like the #1 King Shark in the world, okay, I can invite you because you're on my friends list, and I can bring your King Shark into my game as the NPC running with my crew. Okay, I'm playing solo, I'm offline, but I bring your character in, or I'm online, whatever. I'm using your character, I'm running through my game solo, but I have your King Shark.
What build does he have on?
Your build.
The last build I had him on before
Correct.
I left the game?
Whatever you have on him, that's what you have. Okay. So I bring your character into my game. I start doing boss battles. I start doing missions and strongholds or whatever they're called. And now loot and resources drop. You get a small percentage of those resources. So now when you come back on, when you log in, whatever you do, you're going to have a small amount of resources, and maybe you'll find a piece of weapon, a piece of gear that you could use.
From not even playing.
Without even playing. That's correct.
So what happens if I want to be the anti-friend? What happens if I spec when I'm not playing if I'm not playing King Shark? What happens if I spec him out to be retarded, and then you start picking him, and he causes problems for you on missions that you're trying to do because he's spec'd out?
Well, then I'll kick you from the group. Why would I use your guy?
But I'm just saying, it's like I'm making light of the situation.
I understand that.
It's like a little troll.
Sure, you send your guy in, I'll be like, he's not doing anything, so I kick you out of the thing, and then I have my other guy in. Right. Or I grab some other random character and bring him into my squad.
Yeah, I want to see how that works.
See, I think this is pretty. I think this is pretty interesting.
I want to see how that works.
Well, I think this is pretty interesting because
I honestly want to see it.
If there's a leaderboard, right, the community is going to be like, dude, right?
Whoever's got the best,
whoever's got the best is going to be getting invited to get more rewards and stuff like that, right?
Right. And then he'll play even less.
Well, I don't think it takes you that big of an advantage, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's a PvE game.
If I 100% agree, but if everybody wants my character and I keep logging on after 2 days of working and come back on and my guy's got loaded full inventory,
that's what I want to know.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, how much shit does he get to hold? And if he fills up, the other people who use them now you don't get the rewards because your inventory is full. Like, you understand the complexity of what you're asking about.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Being pulled in, right?
So what I find weird is
it sounds cool, but I'm with the logistics here.
If Shroud is playing. Okay, and everybody grabs Shroud's character because Shroud's going to play 16 hours a day. He's going to have the best character in the game.
Right.
Now I bring Shroud's character in, and everyone in this community, 21,000 people or 1 million people, start playing the game, right? And they all pick Shroud's character. When Shroud logs in, is he going to be sitting there for 20 minutes going through his inventory and making sure it doesn't, your inventory's full, it's going to delete. You're like, well, at that point, does he even care about that stuff? You know what I mean? That's the question I have. I don't know what the max is or anything like that. So that's what Social Squad is, right? There's a gun range. Okay, there's a gun range. And again, when I talk about Shroud, I understand it's a small, minute population. I still want to know the logistics of how many things can you hold before you have to run through. Like, every time I log in, if people are using my guy, it's like, can I opt out? Like, I don't want any more resources, right? I don't want any more stuff. I just want to log, like, it's locked. No one can invite me to play for my character.
Or a reverse troll. I'm farming an area where you get crappy weapons, and I'm filling your inventory up with crappy weapons, so your guy doesn't get weapons when you're offline.
Well, crappy weapon. There was no such thing as crappy weapons, because crappy weapons is there's no gear score. There's no gear score for the weapon, so the weapon drops. The weapon is what it is.
All right.
That's random rolls. There's a gun range, which Division has. Okay, there's armored vehicles. Those vehicles are like they're like timed, so you're using them, and then at a certain point they can explode.
Otherwise you would just
otherwise you just drive around your vehicle. There's care packages. I'm not really too sure what that is. There's 2 game modes that they talked about. There's a horde mode called Killing Time, and there's another one called Insurgents Missions. Okay, and supposedly the way I understood it was these are going to be in the game. I don't think at the story level. I think it's once you're done with the story, they open up and it's like more things to do. So there's going to be a horde mode, which other games still haven't got a horde mode in. Okay, and then there's like incursion missions. Sorry, incursion missions are going to be sort of like what a strike mission is in like Destiny, right? So sort of like that. Okay, there's leaderboards. Okay, now the leaderboards are pretty cool because as we're going and playing, friendly competition between like all of a sudden your guy, you're like, dude, what do you have on your King Shark? You'd be like, oh, I have this, and Be interesting if I could also. They didn't say anything yet, but can I view your character and see what gear you have on? You know what I mean? Like, I would assume you could, because other looters let you do that.
Well, if whatever character's in your game, you can look at their stats. So I would assume.
I would assume, yeah.
You bring one of your friends' characters, and I'm sure you get to look at the stats.
Right. So then you have the leaderboards. Oh, and then if you're doing the leaderboards, whoever is the leader, like whoever wins the at the end of the match, becomes the actual leader of the group, and then they get to pick the next mission. So that's interesting as well. There's crossplay, cross progression. There's Riddler trophies and challenges. There's Easter eggs, and then obviously there's going to be DLC, new characters, missions, and gear. Now they also showed a picture of a concept drawing of the Daily Planet, but it looks like it's in a different dimension of the Joker. So the Joker, let me bring this up real fast.
Like Biff's casino from Back to the Future 2?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'll show you. That's okay. Here's a picture. Sorry. All right. So this is the castle or the building. It's the Daily Planet, and obviously it has the Joker's scheme on there. People have zoomed in, and this is a stack of newspapers over here on the concept drawing, and then over here it's a newspaper that's upside down, and the Joker's on there. Okay. So this might be one of those missions that you go in and you have to fight through the building, and then maybe Joker's a fight that you have to do, but then he becomes part of the Suicide Squad. I don't know. I'm making that shit up. I'm just trying to look at what it is. So when they talk about the different areas coming in and evolving, this could be one of those things. Like Brainiac likes to grab stuff, bring it in. So like worlds collide, different dimensions. So obviously if Joker's in the game, it's not Batman Arkham's Joker because he's dead. It's not Mark Hamill's Joker. It's a different Joker from a different dimension coming in. So that'd be pretty cool.
I'm hoping, for the sake of the game, I'm hoping that the boss mechanics are done well, and they scale with how many people are actually playing who are human. Right? Like if you're playing by yourself,
right,
and you have the 3 NPCs fighting with you, that it's a certain difficulty level with certain mechanics. But if you're playing with 4 people who are all humans, that the boss fight is a little different and a little bit more complicated, and you get better rewards. Like I think that's the way to go, because you want to play with your friends. Even though you're playing single player, you can still do it. But the difficulty and the mechanics of the boss fight should be a little bit more challenging with 4 humans.
Right.
I would like to see that.
Yeah, I want to know what happens with if I'm playing on the game. One, I don't know. Can you pick the difficulty level? And does it scale? They haven't said it. And if they did say something about scaling, I don't know. I want to know, does it scale? So if we're playing with 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. Now, they did say if you're playing with 2 buds, like if me and you are playing Sarge, you get to bring one of your NPCs in. I get to bring one of my NPCs in. If I'm playing solo, I can bring all 4 of your guys' NPCs to play behind me. So it's me plus 3 bots. If I play with you, it's me and you and 2 bots. If it's 3 people, 1 of each person, and then the host has the bot. And then if it's 4 people, everybody has their, each their own. And then if you want to switch characters, you have to go back to the Hall of Justice to switch characters. Okay. So that's the way they broke it down there. Now, as far as does it scale difficulty level with 2, 3, 4 people playing, I would hope so, but I don't know. They didn't say anything. And if they did, chat, if you guys know, I would assume that all the other looters do it. So,
I mean, it's been 10 years, right? I just think that when you're playing with multiple friends, whether it be couch co-op or online, and I do enjoy that the complexities now of online games with friends and boss fights with mechanics are fun. But at this point, there should be good boss mechanics in multiplayer PvE games.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, they've had plenty of time to practice. They have plenty of people to look at over the years, right? You had the bullet sponginess of the Division guys. You had the crazy mechanics of the Destiny guys. Like different games did it differently. Even single player games with boss fights had good mechanics. I think at this point, we put all that together in a pile, and guys should be able to pick out a fun factor of good boss mechanics. If I'm going to be repeating a boss battle, I don't want it to be exactly the same every time, regardless of how many people are playing.
I mean, that's gonna be
because once
you
you
figure it
know
out,
it,
yeah,
you know it.
You know it. That's you can't fight against that. What are you gonna do? Procedurally generate? You would have to code a boss fight to have like 50 different combinations, and then randomly generate the code of the combinations to randomly.
Hang on, you're making it sound like it's like it's insurmountable. If let's say there's 5 different kinds of boss mechanics, right? And every time you fought the guy, they pick 3.
Sure, but
right? So it changes it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're not always specced out exactly how to destroy him in exactly 25 seconds. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you're going to make me play the same boss game over and over again because I'm trying to farm for something, then at least make it challenging somewhat.
Well, then the only way I'll describe the Flash fight that we saw, right? So, like, if the Flash is fighting, and if you start figuring it out, like, all of a sudden he stops on this midpoint for his first phase, and then the third phase or second phase he stops in this building. If you can randomly generate where he stops, then you're not expecting where he's going to stop, because then you can learn the mechanic. And if it's always different, then maybe something like that. But I don't know. I think no matter what happens, gamers are going to game. They're going to figure out the system, and then they're going to make that system super easy.
Yes, but gamers are going to game. The challenge and the fun is figuring out the battle.
Sure, but once they figure it out, it's over.
If the battle can be figured out instantaneously in the first 5 minutes, then the challenge is gone. You lose the fun factor. If it's a possibility to keep me hooked a little bit longer because I don't know what's coming next, that keeps people engaged. That's all I'm saying.
Look at Vault of Glass took what, 6 hours, 12 hours, whatever, to beat the first time, and it went from like 12 hours to 6 hours to 3 hours to 30 seconds.
But it was difficult. But it was
sure
difficult
until
people underpowered, and people are underpowered. Right. So what happens? You get overpowered in this kind of game, and the boss mechanics are the same. Flash, we'll be doing speed rounds. I could do Flash in the 45 seconds.
That's what we did in Marvel's Avengers. You would do Marvel's Avenger boss fights, and you would figure it out, and you'd be like, this is what you do here. That's what you do there. Step on this door. Here's a little glitch. Right? People just figure out the stuff, and then everyone's like, all right, cool. Right? And if you don't do enough damage, then you can't do enough damage, and then you have to come back when you're ready.
I was never a fan of if you didn't do enough damage, you wiped. I never liked that mechanic, but I understand why it was there, because it taught people how to be more efficient with their time. Otherwise, you're not giving anyone a reason to be good with the gun. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why the term "get good" comes from. Like, if you're the guy supposed to be guarding the ads on the left door and you can't handle that shit, then either you need to get a better gun,
get good,
right, or get good. One or the other. But I'm not saying that should be for every boss fight ever.
That's when they swap you out.
But that's why those existed. That's why those mechanics existed.
Can you imagine? They're like, hey, Billy, you got to pick up. You're not holding your own over there. You know what, Billy? Fuck you. You're out. We're bringing someone else's bot in.
Well, okay, but listen. I'm not.
We're taking the lead. We're taking Shroud's #1 on the leaderboard. We're bringing him in instead.
All right. I'm not trying to put anyone down, but everybody talked shit in Destiny. But you knew if you could handle the job you were given or if you couldn't. And then they knew what your gear was, even though you might have been lying. Because you could say I could do it, but we already see that we're watching, and we know that you can't kill the guys fast enough, which means you're underpowered, even though you said you were not.
Right.
Like, what I'm saying is, it's not just a gear check from the game itself. It's a gear check from your friends. Right. And so you're like, listen, dude, if you can't do it, let us know. We'll switch out. We'll do something else. It engages people instead of you just trying to carry people. That's the difference. Right. Just put whoever you want in. We got no problem.
You know what I just thought of?
Put whoever in. No problem. We got you.
As a streamer, when I start playing with people, like, because I'm going to play through the story.
Yes, Apollyon. Yes.
Right. When I start playing with people, we can have a little game, right? Because a lot of people would like to play. So if we did a mission, right? This is a good rotation, right? Hear me out, right? Obviously, I'm not gonna get kicked out because I'm the streamer, right? But if I was the lowest score, then we keep the same team, right? But if whoever's the lowest score on the leaderboard after the mission, they get booted and a new person comes in, right? And you just do a little rotation so people can play with it, right?
I mean, it's whatever you want.
Pretty good.
Whatever keeps friends and people who want to play the game engaged. right? If everything's cut and dry, if every time I fight the boss battle, it's always the same, it gets dry really quick. People don't have the patience that they once had. They either want to clear it or they want to know how to clear it in the first session, right?
Right.
Remember how angry people were in Destiny raids and how hard that raid was in
You gotta have a
Destiny
Gallahorn. No
Division 2?
Gallahorn, no coming
Yeah,
in.
yeah, I get it, man. I get it. All I'm saying is the fun comes from learning the mechanics with friends, understanding your builds, and people playing
Yeah.
the game long enough to where you understand your character. That's what made the game fun.
Yeah, and that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited to figure this stuff out. Now, here's the thing I want to know about the boss fights, because obviously, if you're playing through the campaign, the boss fights can't be super difficult because it's not a raid. You're not going into a raid. You're just going through this. No, hold on a second. What I'm saying is, I hope what they do is there's a story campaign boss fight, right? But then once you beat the game, and let's say like in Division, like you have the Black Tusk, whatever, come in, right? You're going to be fighting these bosses over and over again, I would assume, right? It's not like you kill Flash and then he doesn't come back, right? So if you're farming the Flash,
well, how can I test out my build if I can't fight a boss with
but that's what I'm saying. So I hope that the campaign boss fight is different after you beat the campaign, and then when you go fight him again, it's a different fight, harder fight, something along those lines. I don't know. We'll see. Everybody says needs Gallahorn. Know what to do? Needs Mike. Yeah, exactly. I hated those days. World says it feels so much better to finish something with being who struggled than who's knew exactly. Absolutely. If you weren't here when we played, but me and Sarge would go into some people's raids, right, for Destiny, and we never did it. They did it, and we're like, don't tell us shit. We want to figure it out. They didn't say anything. They didn't communicate or anything, and they just hung back, and we did all the stuff, and we figured it out. And it was great. I love when people let people figure it out. If you tell me what to do, like, I don't want to be Sherpa'd, okay? I want people to come in and figure it out. So if anyone plays with me and we're going through like a boss fight or whatever, and you're the first time playing, I'm not gonna tell you shit, right? I'm gonna sit there and let you figure it out to play, because to me it's not about wrap it up, let's go, we're kicking you out, right? It's having fun in that moment, and if that frustration, we died. All right, well, this is what you do, right? Don't you gotta move away from that left side. That left side's high. If you need help, we'll come over and help you. And you try to figure it out, because when you do beat it, it feels good. It feels good, man. Like I was doing fist pumps in the air for Vault of Glass when we first beat it. That's what I miss. B earlier said, I think this is going to be the Redfall of this year. I don't think so. I don't think it's anywhere near. First of all, you're comparing this game is going to be broke, buggy, and unfinished like Redfall. I think that's a little unfair, right? Because I played the alpha.
I think Redfall hurt him,
right? I think
he really wanted Redfall to be good.
I guess so, because I played the alpha, and the alpha's in really good shape, right? It's better than what I played other games in alpha form, and I think this game's gonna be fine. I think it's unfairly getting shit on because it's not the Batman game people wanted, and it's not the live service game people wanted. Like every time I see a video, everyone's like, "Yeah, this is just not the Batman game everybody wanted," and why is it a live service? Like,
why? Well, it's not Batman,
right?
It's not a Batman.
Every single person.
I don't get it, man. What is it? Because they saw Batman in the game? Is that why?
I don't know. Like you knew this for years.
Was talking in the game. That was it.
You knew this for years that the game what it was. So like everyone coming out now being like, just not the Batman Arkham game. I mean, I don't understand. Like I don't understand. I don't understand.
It's not Batman.
I'm Batman.
It's not Batman.
It's because they don't listen or read or open their eyes. Are they watching the trailer like this? Are they like, what's happening? What's happening? I hear Batman. It's Batman? Is it Batman? I hear him. Like, what are we talking about?
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. It's got Batman in it. It's like everybody's 10. He's got Batman in it.
I laugh if there's an extra tab that you get to play Batman for like 20 minutes. Right? Like, think about Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights came out and everyone's like, bro, this is not Batman Arkham. Uh-huh. And they're like, oh, you can't even play as Batman. Yeah, it says Gotham Knights. It doesn't say Batman Gotham Knights. It's Gotham Knights. Like, it says Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. And people are like, I hope you don't kill the Justice League. Like, are you mentally retarded? Like, it literally says it on the box. Like, I was surprised. What? We're using Suicide Squad members and we're killing the Justice League? I was shocked. I didn't know this was happening. It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense, Sarge. Make it make sense.
I can't, because people are people. You can't make sense of them.
Yeah, and here's the thing: we didn't talk about this. I talked about it earlier today. The guys that were with Rocksteady Studios that left Rocksteady Studios. Okay, this is what's going around right now. Okay, that right now everyone thinks that Rocksteady Studios is being held hostage, and they were forced to make this game. Okay, they were forced to make Suicide Squad into a live service game, where there's articles and interviews that people were talking about. They were never making a Superman game ever. It wasn't on the books. They weren't making it. They were making a multiplayer live service game. Okay, that was it was a multiplayer. We're losing Sarge. We're losing you. You're chopping out. They were making a multiplayer fighting game, a gun playing game, and then there was a company that was making a Suicide Squad game that they lost, and they shut it down. And then they'd opened up and they're like, well, what about if we use the Suicide Squad? And then that's where they started making Suicide Squad. And it's been in development for 6-7 years. This is the only thing they've been working on the entire time. But yet people are super mad, super mad that this is not the Batman game or Superman game. And they're like, I hope this game fails so that I can get my Batman game. And in some strange world, they think because if this game fails, that the next game Rocksteady makes is going to be that Batman Arkham game that they have to wait another 7 years for, which that's also insane. And then the new studio that the guys that used to work for Rocksteady are starting a new studio, and I guarantee you they'll be like, I can't believe they didn't make a Batman game. It's like, they don't want to make a Batman game. They made a Batman game. They made 4 Batman games. Go play them. Go play them. They're amazing. But this is not it. This is not it. Sarge is completely frozen. So I don't have a picture for Sarge. Do we have a background for him? Nope. You just have to see blurry Sarge. Oh, he's really wasn't bad. Oh, there he is. He's back. What happened? Do an upload? Do a download? What was happening? Right.
I hear you, but I don't know what's going on.
Okay, you're good now. Yeah, this is fine. Everything's fine. WB sold 22 million copies of Harry Potter. Rocksteady could have made 2 Batman games before the game came out, especially after the delays. That doesn't even make sense. They sold 22 million copies in 1 year. It takes 5 years to make a video game. It's been 1 year since Hogwarts Legacy came out. What are you talking about? You're talking about the next games they're gonna make? That's what they want to make? Yeah, don't watch porn, Sarge, while you're live on stream.
Oh, I promised myself that I would never put porn on my PC ever again. I only use my phone. I only use my phone because all the crazy hack stuff doesn't go on your phone. It does like you don't
jerking off in front of their PC, you animals.
Yeah, buddy.
Come on. This game took 9 years.
Yeah,
it didn't take 9 years.
Yeah,
it didn't take 9 years. Here, let me fact check B real fast. Let me fact check B.
Okay. Throwing hand grenades. Throwing hand.
We got to, because people like to make like these claims, right? And I'm not saying he's wrong. You just got to fact check, right? Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. Okay. Let's see. Development time. Okay, let's see. Let's go. Gameplay, premise, development. Video game, February 2012. Elaborated the game in development, adding it because it is a concept. You have a game where you lead characters convincingly. Okay. The formation of Suicide Squad was teased in the Batman Arkham Origins in 2013. Development of WB Games Montreal featured a post-credits scene. Deathstroke asked Amanda Waller, Batman Arkham Origins, Blackgate, Deadshot, Bronze Tiger, join the Bane thing. Okay. Rocksteady announced Suicide Squad's Kill the Justice League in 2020. Rocksteady, the creator of Batman Arkham. So if they announced it in 2020, they probably were working on it for about 18 to 24 months, so about 2 years ahead. So 2018, right? 2018 is when they started. Okay. Because it says here that WB Games Montreal was working on a Suicide Squad game, but no official announcement was made from the development team or publisher. And in December of 2016, the two guys left and it was canceled. It says Rocksteady announced the Suicide Squad Killer Justice League in 2020, so I'll give it 2018. So let's count now with our fingers for math. Okay, 2018 to 19, 19 to 20, 20 to 21, 21 to 22, 22 to 23, 23 to 24. Nope, not anywhere near 9 years to development time. So good try though. Good try. Appreciate it. It's 6 years. 6 years. Let's see here. How do you unplug the phone camera? Actually, I don't want to know. I would have made a single player DC game with the IP of Harry Potter. Crushed it. WB, come on. They did. They made a single player Hogwarts Legacy game off brand of Harry Potter, and they crushed it with 22 million copies. That's what they did, and that took 6 to 7 years as well. So, one, comparing the game to Redfall, which is a broke, buggy, unfinished game, that's false. So and then the 9-year development cycle, that's also false.
I think Redfall's deciding factors when the developers said we don't want to make this game. I'm pretty sure when they said that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that's
right?
exactly right.
That's how you know things weren't going really well.
And here's the best part, right? Rocksteady Studios worked on a first-person shooter game first. That was their first game. Then they made the Batman game. And now they're going back to a shooting game. And they're like, they need to go back to their roots. They did.
They did.
The first game was a shooting game. And then they went back to their roots, right?
Well,
but they were known for their Batman game.
Yeah, but to be fair, though, you're always playing around with the age bracket, right? If you were growing up and you first saw Batman when the Batman game first came out, you were X number of years old. When you first started paying attention to video games, you might not have known about the first-person games, right? Because there's always those games that bring you into the fold, right? Like you're a kid, you play some video games, and there's that one game that just kind of like, wow, like, and then from that point on, you start paying attention,
right,
to video games, right? So you have an age bracket of people that might not have known about Rocksteady's first game. They think Batman was it because they don't care about what was before then, right?
Right.
You remember that there's always like this cycle of people, right? In my head, the cycle of people that play games is larger. They get pulled into the wheel, and then less people leave the wheel sooner. Like we stay in the wheel longer. Like I'm old, right? There's a lot of people that play games for like their college years, and then they get married, have kids, and they're not playing games anymore. Maybe on occasion they'll play games, but they're only in there for a little while. But the group of people now that actually casually play games is much larger.
I feel sorry for Insomniac Games based on this knowledge of like Rocksteady working on Batman games, and they can only do Batman games because Insomniac's working on Ratchet and Clank, but they're working on Spider-Man games and Wolverine games, right? Like they're stuck, right? If they make anything other than a Marvel game, they're gonna be like, should have stuck with Marvel. It's like, dude, they gave you 3 Spider-Men, they gave you 3 X-Men, they gave you, you know what I mean? Like they're allowed to work on other things. Because if you're working on one franchise the entire time, that's almost like a live service game. You know what I mean?
Well, but that's why I always felt a little guilty for people who worked for Bungie, because you're working on, like, you traded off Halo, right? You traded off Halo for Destiny, and you're working on the same game for 10 years. Like we talked about this in the past. I would not be surprised if people who are working at Bungie are just burnt out.
Your phone's by the microphone.
You're working on the same game,
right?
You know, development teams, they might be really good at something, but sometimes they want to be challenged and try something else. It might not be a 10 out of 10, but at least they try. They want to do something else. I would never blame the guys from Bungie who said, like, we're just done with this,
right?
Like we don't care anymore. Like I think 11 years, and it's longer than 10 years because they were working on it before the 14 release, right? So they were working on it before then. Right, so we're looking at over 10 years.
Yeah.
Right. You think you're happy working at the same thing every day, all day for over 10 years? In the gaming world, you might be really awesome at some points in the programming or coding, but at other points you're like, I'm out. Right. So do you know why they're burnt out or why they're missing so many people? I think the people are just I've had enough.
Yeah, I think when you're at a certain point, I mean, even at the people that are working at the studio right now. If this is it is a live service game, it lasts another 2-3 years, and they've worked on it for 6. Then by the end, it could be 9 years, and they're working on one game. But a lot of artists like to work on other things. Yep. They don't want to be held down to that one it's like a struggle, right? You want it because it's a
you
steady
want work,
job, right? It's a steady
right?
job, and you get the payment, and you support your family and whatnot.
But you also want the
But your
challenge.
passion also loses because if you're doing the same thing over and over, then you're like, right, I'm doing the same, working on this game again. All right, right? You're trying to keep motivated. Where you're like, you get excited, right? Like if you move from like working on like a DC thing, and then all of a sudden you start working on Transformers, like that's a change that you want to make, type of thing. You don't want to keep working on the exact same type of genre or different.
Right. Well, I'm talking about like change is official. Like let's say it's a strategy game, then it's a first person shooter.
Right,
And
right,
then
right.
we're doing action adventure. Like, yes, they're not experts at all avenues, but your team doesn't get better unless they're challenged. Right? Like the guys who are working on I hate even say it, but the guys working at Ubisoft and working on fucking Assassin's Creed, they could probably make Assassin's Creed in their sleep with one hand.
Right.
Right? Because they've been making Assassin's Creed for freaking ever.
15 years,
right?
yeah, 15,
Now,
16 years.
and I know everyone loves Assassin's Creed. Like, you get the whole thing, you love it. But like for me, I look at that game, I'm like, I don't want to look at you anymore. Like, I don't care. I don't care what time period it is. I don't care if the guy's got a new voice. I don't care if the assassin's now female. I don't care if it's transgender. I don't care whatever you say. But if I hear the word Assassin's Creed, my brain just turns off. I don't want to see you.
Yeah,
I'm
the
done.
three. I think certain companies are just like, and again, I think Rocksteady Studios don't want to be pigeonholed as we're the Batman guys, right? We're the Batman guys. Now they're the DC guys as of right now because
Right.
5 out of the 6 games they've created are in the DC universe.
Yeah, well, because we got to chase the money.
Right. And I don't know. We'll see what happens with Suicide Squad. Look, I'm in it for the story, and after the story, we'll see how the end game works and how that min-maxing works.
How did Gotham Knights play out after you guys played Gotham Knights for the time period? How did it work out?
Well, Gotham Knights was just a single player game. It wasn't a live service.
I get it. How
Right?
did it go?
I thought it was fine. I thought it should have been a live service, or at least if you wanted to put DLC, like give me more case files, like let me fight more bad guys. And I think this is where this game should suffer the same consequences, right?
Okay.
If it doesn't have more villains to fight by the end of this year, right? Like I don't know how many villains it has. Right? We know the Justice League, but we don't know if we fight Wonder Woman. I'm assuming we're gonna fight Wonder Woman because she's gonna get turned at some point or whatnot. Maybe. So what? You're fighting 5 people? Maybe you fight Lex Luthor, and then you don't kill him, but you fight him. And then you're killing the Justice League. So you're going against Flash, Green Lantern, Spider-Man, fucking Superman, and Batman, right? And then what happens? Where's Aquaman? Where's Hawkman? Where's Martian Manhunter? Like, where are these guys down the road if they bring them into the game at all? And that's where I think this game lives or dies, because I asked the question last night to Kinger. I said, what's more important, the villains? A lurker asked this. He says, what's more important, new heroes or new villains? Right? And I said new villains, because you could bring in new heroes, but if I'm doing the same content over and over again with 5 guys and 6 guys and 7 guys,
then you're Borderlands.
Right. Where if you bring in new villains with new heroes, then I'm taking the new hero and playing the new content against the new villains.
Well, let me spin it this way, right? If I'm able to make a character not play, and someone can pull my character into your game and use it on your team, then I get points for it.
You're not leveling up. You're not leveling up. You're just getting resources and stuff.
That's fine. So what if we take that and switched it around to where I make a boss character with the abilities that I found throughout the game, and then when you pull the guy in, you fight my boss character.
Interesting. I don't know how they would do that. Yeah,
Same.
I said a game mode they could do down the road if there's like a PvP.
I think that would be interesting. People who play the game longest have abilities unlocked, and then they build a boss character for other people to fight.
I think as a throwaway side game.
That would be the next level of this type of game.
Well, I said earlier, I think what they could do in this game is like just a fun throwaway, like you're not leveling up or anything like that. Playing Ghostbusters and playing like Friday the 13th and stuff like that. You're like Jason against the camp counselors. You're a ghost against the Ghostbusters, right? I said, what about if they need a game mode where it's PvP, right? But it's one person is one of the bosses, right? Like Flash or Superman, and then the other 4 are the Suicide Squad members, and it's 4v1, and you just fight. It's like a PvP match. Who can win, right?
I like it where if I make the villain character and you have to fight him, I think that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Right.
And then you would go on the top 10 list of bosses fun to fight, and then your guys are listed on who made the best bosses, and that's the guy I want to fight. Right? I think that would be interesting.
Making the bosses, though, I mean, I would be okay if they had the bosses, you just controlled the boss. Because where would you get the powers from? That's a whole completely complex, different game. How would you find the powers for your guys that you're creating?
As you play the game, the more bosses that you kill, you keep unlocking different powers for bosses, and you get to pick 3 or 4 powers that you give to that boss, and you put it on them.
Shooter.
Oh, that's complicated. Sorry.
It sounds like a shooter. It's a shooter, right?
It is a shooter.
Yeah,
it is a shooter.
But how am I making?
So it's okay. So what you're saying is it's impossible for me to make a boss character, but it's okay for my guy to. I make a guy, then you pull him to your game. That's completely fine.
Well, you're just taking your loadout and you're putting it on the character that's already pre-made in your game. You're just taking the stats and you're taking your King Shark and putting it in.
Find powers, put it on. I
guess, but you don't control the other guy. That's what I'm saying. Like, nope. So you're saying make any character. So I could have Superman and he could have the powers of any other.
No, I didn't say Superman. I like whatever.
What I'm saying is you're making your own boss. And you could take Superman's powers and Wonder Woman's powers and Batman's powers and merge them into one character. Is what you're saying?
Whatever powers you find in the game.
I don't know. That goes off kilter because then these are licensed characters in a game, and that would just go off kilter because then you're making your own superhero, and then now DC was like, what the fuck's going on?
That's what I said.
I know, but that would be
a boss character for you to fight.
Yeah, but that would be a fundamentally licensed fucked because DC would be like, what are we doing here? This is a DC game and you're making your own characters now?
It's just someone to fight.
That's what I'm saying though, but there's a license. There's other avenues in this thing.
You keep using license. The word license. I made up my own dude.
I understand that,
I didn't use Superman and gave him special powers. I made up some dude.
I understand that, but you're using it in a IP that's DC related. So you would have to stand by the rules of what DC is letting you do with the IP.
Every cheap monster guy that you're fucking around with inside the game is not in every comic book ever made. They made some scroty guys that you fight all the time, except I take the scroty guy and I give him abilities that I find in the game and you fight him.
The correct, Dave, but in the DC Universe Online, that's the license they made. This is what I'm saying, right? Like, you're a character in that game. In this game, that's not what it is. Now, I understand Sarge is making it up, but they would have to go through a whole licensing thing to what you could create in this game because it's strictly what they want it to be. Sort of like the Marvel game, right? The Marvel game was strictly, you couldn't even put a different costume on certain ones. This was approved by Marvel. Okay? That's the difference I'm talking about. I mean, I understand the concept that he's doing. It would be cool. That's why I said more simplistic would be just 1v4. They're already in the game. It's just a game mode you go to, and one of your friends is Superman or Wonder Woman that round, and then you rotate and see who can beat each other. That's it.
Well, Superman would win.
Well, he's not going to win because you're playing the game and you're going to murder him with guns.
Nope, it's not going to happen.
So that's it.
DC wouldn't allow it. The licensing of Superman is you can't kill Superman. So
well, that's fine. So that means the end of the game is you dying, right? There is no end of the game. Your end of the game for a live service game is go up against Superman and then you're dead.
And you're dead.
That's it. All right.
Yep.
I got it. It's Brainiac's final weapon after the Justice League is dead. Brainiac secretly copied the powers, and you get to make it into a robot, and the robot can customize into Sarge, as he's saying. Thanks, Krebsy. That's great. I like it. Fantastic. Are you hyped for Suicide Squad as you are for the budget-friendly price of the Sony live service game Helldivers? Well, one, I don't own a PlayStation 5, so I can't play Helldivers unless I play it on PC. And Helldivers is a $40 price tag game. Okay, so it's not going to be as big as Suicide Squad. It's going to be more like Starship Troopers. And no, I'm not as excited as Helldivers because Helldivers to me is a generic IP that was a completely different game before that I'd never played. So I don't know anything about Helldivers. Okay,
is that the one where the big monsters land on the planet and everyone goes to fight it? Is that Helldivers?
I guess Helldivers. You talk about the new one. Helldivers, yeah, you're like these pods shoot out of the ground and then it's a
and then everybody goes
the third person, yeah, and you're fighting.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Helldivers is. With DC, they've been around 100 years. I've been on the planet Earth for 45. I know the backstories of these characters, and it's automatic. Like, I'm interested. That's just the way it is. And been pretty consistent with that across the board, saying that if Destiny was Star Wars, if Destiny was Marvel, if Destiny was Transformers, I would be more excited for that than Destiny. Because Destiny, when you first played, was generic characters, generic world, IP, brand new stuff, you're learning the stuff. I already know all the characters of Transformers. So if you give me a game like that, but just exactly like Destiny, it's a better game to me. I know the lore. I know the characters. I'm more invested. So, no, I'm not as excited as Helldivers as I am for Suicide Squad. Get the fucking name. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It's the longest and worst title. That's the worst part about the game. Let's see. Is the Suicide Squad canon for the James Gunn universe? I think it's its own universe, but according to James Gunn, he could pull from whatever. So, like television shows to movies to films to video games, they could all cross over. Does the DC IP make or break? Well, I think it's a double-edged sword. I think it can make it, but it can also break it if they don't do it correctly, right? Look at Marvel's Avengers. Look at Marvel Future Revolution on the mobile device, right? It was the Marvel IP, and it just didn't work out. So it broke it because they didn't do what they were supposed to do, and people's expectations were a little high. People's expectations for DC, that's why they're pissed off, because they didn't want a live service game. They just wanted a single-player Batman game. And that's what they're pissed off about.
And that's been abundantly clear. A single player Batman game is what Suicide Squad is supposed to be.
That's what it's supposed to be, yeah. No. So.
I can't even listen to the statement anymore. It's just so stupid.
Is Helldivers an extraction game, Dave? I didn't think it was an extraction game. Is it like a push your luck system? Like you go down to the system, you kill some enemies, you grab some things, and then you take back off? Is that what it is? I thought it was more of a Dauntless type of thing, where you land on the planet, you kill the boss, and you go back to base type of thing. Like once you're done with the creatures, it's kind of like an extraction game. All right, well, we'll see. It comes out the 8th? I think it comes out the February 8th or 18th, something like that. All right.
Oh, so it's right around the corner then.
Yeah, it's coming right around the corner. All right, that's gonna do it. It's we went way long. We're almost 3 hours tonight. That's gonna do it for episode 379. Is in the can. We do appreciate you for coming out for Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Tomorrow night, I'm going to play some Pal World on Xbox. So if anybody wants to play, we'll be playing late night around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the evening. We'll probably play like 2 hours of that game, just checking it out. And if you like it, maybe we'll play it some more on Monday evening. Monday, it's going to be a long show because we're doing the morning show, and then there's the Dev Diary 3 for Suicide Squad. So it starts at 1 p.m. So we're going to cover that live as well. If you like what we do here, please make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. Appreciate it very much. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.
Game on, guys.
They're two brothers and gamers that have been playing games since the early 1980s. Combined, they have over 65 years experience. Join them each week as they discuss and rant about gaming and entertainment news. This is Generation X Gaming.